back, everyone. We are here for another edition of the Super Millions. It's season 2, episode 59. We got some Titans, as usual, that will battle for this first prize, which is very, very healthy. And, of course, we have an extremely talented guest commentator today. We got Patrick Tardif joining us, also known as Egption, in the house. So I want to welcome Patrick in, and we will be calling the action with you for a winner today. As usual, there will be a giveaway. We're going to do some special things. And Patrick, don't be shy. Bring him in. Let's bring Patrick in. There he is. Patrick, how's it going?
Things are good. Things are good. I'm looking forward to this final table. It's as I said before, star-studded, a lot of crushers. I mean, when it comes to $10,000 Super Millions, every final table is going to have a whole bunch of killers. But this one in particular is going to be fun. I got my Peruzzi Rooster Booster hoodie on in support of one of the players at the final table we'll talk about later. But looking forward to it and looking to get into it.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we are going to dive right into the action. So let's get to that featured final table. It's the only table left. We will play to a winner, and we are going to see a massive first prize. As always, this is the Sunday tournament with the final table pausing and taking place on Tuesday here live. We are with you covering the action, and we will go ahead on a short delay and get you all the action. And Patrick, are you up for a dinner, for a bet, for a snake draft, kind of to pick kind of players? Are you good with that or no? Because I want to play dinner.
Get a biscuit of the game.
Yeah, the full deal, dessert, drinks, the whole nine. So let's get in there, and then of course a giveaway. We're gonna give the audience a chance for a ticket, some tournament dollars. But let's dive in, Patrick. Let's go to that final table right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm free rolling a bit because last time I was in the booth was with Kevin, and I won about 400 off him. So, you know,
yeah, the legend.
If I lose, I'm just paying you with his money, you know.
I love it. Well, Kevin's had a tough go, I think, in these matchups. I don't know, a little bit of bad luck variance, but he couldn't quite get it going. I'd say I'm about 50-50. So let's go ahead and play red or black, and you can pick the flop for what color if you go first.
Let's go red.
Okay.
It's important to say it before I see I see a lot of black cards out there. I see a lot of spades. I see a lot of clubs. I think we see. I don't think we're going to see a flop though. So I think it's safe.
That's true. We definitely, I think you're right. This has got shaped up. Oli Shemian, I mean, just looking at some of these names right here, look at that Austria row. I talk about a tough draw, a lot of Mexico and Austria representation. Benjamin Raleigh just finishing second, also was a guest on the show recently. A bit of booth magic for him. And as you can see, there's they're going to go ahead and start with him with over 6 million in GG earnings. And of course, as you mentioned, no slouches here, Patrick. This is a 10K buy-in, lot of crushers at this final table. Anyone that stands out maybe that wouldn't be as known for you here? Obviously some household names though.
Yeah, I think the only person that's not real named PDC Mayor, I won't dox him, but I got the Rooster Booster hoodie on for him, cheering him on. That's my dark horse. I don't want you to pick him in the snake draft. You know, he's short stacked. You know, you don't have to worry about him. But that's my guy. Nicholas Asted. You know, I've got my history with him. He destroyed me on my only one of my biggest final tables that he ended up winning the World Series of Poker circuit main. But I mean, Lena's one of the best to ever do it. Easily one of the best to ever do it online, especially. Looking forward to seeing him do some crazy stuff, some exciting stuff there.
Well, we have a flop. It is black, so we'll start. I will get to start with the pick. And of course, we're going to give away at least $50. I'm going to give you guys a few names where if they were to win, you get $100. So it's going to be 50 or 100, and we will do that during the show throughout. But currently, I will start off with the first pick. We're going to do snake draft. We'll go 1, 2, 2, 2, like that. 1, 2, 2, 2, kind of all the way down. So I'll go ahead and take first pick. This is a little bit tough, actually, but it's actually not. It's Ben. It's the chip leader, Ben CB. That's my guy. Raise your edge, the whole deal. Friend of mine, and just I'm picking Ben. So Ben CB, my first pick.
I feel like things are going to shift for this first hand here. I mean, PDC. Oh wow, Pete was just the jam. PDC Mayor got saved. He raised blind versus blind, bet small flop, and then bet turn. And I mean, Pete elects to stick it in with his 2 pair. I think there was a scenario where PDC Mayor probably triples it off. So I think he got saved there. But yeah, I guess back to me picking 2. All right. I mean, Pablo. It seems easy just to pick the second and third place stacks. I think I'm gonna go with Mulocker and Kevin. I'll take. I'll mix it up. I won't just go second and third in chips. I'll go Kevin here, the Dutchman.
All right. Well, Kevin has had some success at the Triton events. I do recognize him, very talented player, but I'm going to very, very happily take Pablo Silva. I mean, I don't know if you saw him or not. 3.3 million, Patrick. That's a
Yeah.
big lot of respect for Paque there. And I am going to go ahead and take my man. And I guess I get two, right? Is that right? We go
Yeah, you
one,
get
two,
two.
two. I'll go with Ole. I mean, how can you bet against this guy? He just kind of
Yeah.
seems to always get it done. So there's my picks. You're up.
All right, so I guess I get. I'll take the mayor player, the Carmen, PDC mayor, and I'll take Lena. I mean, I feel like Lena on any final table. It doesn't matter how many chips. I mean, right now he's got kings. This could be the spell of something. I mean, Ben CV is going to open. I'd like to think that Ben's going to raise call here. I don't think he will, but wishful thinking. You know, maybe Lena got him in like a 5K on Sunday, and he just wants to spite him off. But
it's very, very, very wishful thinking. I don't think that will go down. Ben likely with that chip stack, you know, he's gonna have a lot of raise folds and queen nine suited pretty hand, but not gonna call. I want to welcome everyone in today. Please hit the thumbs up if you're enjoying the stream, and also we'll make you eligible with that plus a keyword at the end of the show. Like I said, it will be 50 GG dollars or 100 if you can get lucky. We're gonna actually give three, guys. We'll give three away today for a chance at the 100. I think we're gonna give them a mix of guys to sweat here today. So who do I get the two left, or is it 1 and 1? You just got two, right? I think I get one. So I'm gonna.
well, I mean, you picked first, so shouldn't you get 4 and then I get 5 people?
Is that? I think that's right. So do I?
Yeah, because it's an uneven number, right? So yeah, you can pick between Pete and Mark.
All right, I'm gonna take Mark Radoja because this guy's always at the final table. He also beat me heads up for a World Series of Poker bracelet, and just kind of, you know, I gotta give him some love. So
yeah, that's an interesting one because I mean, having somebody that's beat you for a bracelet, it's kind of like you know, it's borderline wanting to anti-sweat them. So it's a very mature of you to be able to look past that and still pick him. All right, I'll take our fellow team pro Pete then. Happily.
Pete, respect to Pete. Yeah, I don't know how Pete, definitely a very, very strong player. Good to see him in the mix, and we wish him luck, of course. And we're gonna give you guys 3 players for the $100 bonus. Let's give Pete Chen 1.5. He's part of, you know, the GG crew. We're gonna give him the nod. Let's give him the chip leader, Patrick, because that just feels right for a sweat.
I think
Give him something to sweat at, and then I'm gonna let you pick the next guy. Who else does the audience have today for the 50 bonus on top of 50?
Let's give him. I want all of them to be cheering on PDC Mayor as well. So let's give him PDC Mayor. He's the shortest stack. He's the underdog story right now. I think picking him will be good. I want all the rooster booster power to go towards our friend here.
All right, you know what? And I am also, you know what? Let's throw him Pablo Silva. I got so much love for Brazil. You know, my son's half Brazilian. I'm married to a Brazilian.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna give you guys 4. Why not? Little energy, vamos, gente. Any Brazilians out there?
Yeah, a little Segura.
Chat. Yeah, give them some international feel. We got a nice mix for you guys today. We got a big final table. You can see the payouts: 357,000 in the lower section there, the lower right. You can see what you're playing for. 51,000, a little thing called ICM, Patrick. We talk about it every week, but it is sort of the most relevant thing in a tournament, and it's sort of the greatest at this point between about 7th and 12th. Could you maybe speak a little bit about ICM and what portion of the tournament it becomes most relevant?
Yeah, I think from like 5th to 9th on final tables, that's where ICM is the most prevalent. It's where people are going to have the most pressure in terms of trying to get pay jumps and try not to bust before other players. There's just a risk premium to playing hands on final tables where you want to be a little bit more risk adverse. As I guess Ole just got unfortunate bluff attempt there, Mr. Muhlacher. Good for me because Muhlacher's my guy right now. I think Muhlacher is basically tied for chip lead now too, which is noteworthy. But yeah, with an independent chip model, you know, the chips that Ole just lost there are worth more than any chips he could have won. Not to say that you don't want to play pots, but you know, things that at the beginning of the tournament are fringe and close, and maybe, you know, you'd maybe play, but sometimes you wouldn't, become in general not plays anymore, and things that you'd fold or things that you wouldn't 3-bet, stuff like that. So you want to be adjusting to the prize pool.
Well said. Very well said, and can't disagree at all with any of that. We are going to be seeing some big action. The chat was asking for Lena, and you know what? I'm feeling generous today. We're going to give it to them. So I think they have five people ask and receive. That's about, you got to take chances in life. And Benjamin Rao. So what do we got? Ben, Is it Ole?
Ben, Pete, PDC Mayor, Nicholas, and Pablo. So if Kevin, Ole, Mark, or Mulocker win, no one wins any money.
No, no. They get 50 no matter what, and if one of
Oh,
those guys
okay.
win, they get 100. Yeah, Patrick.
Oh, okay.
This is
Yeah.
50 or
I
100.
thought we were getting cutthroat. That's fine. I understand.
No, we're giving today on GG, man. This is it. Barack Lavav in the chat. We're talking out loud. Who you got? Who you're sweating? And then Patrick and I have our own little side bet for dinner. You guys are getting $50 guaranteed or 100. We will have a giveaway at the end of the show. Please hit the thumbs up if you are enjoying the show. And at the end, we will give a keyword when we get down to about 3-handed, and then let you guys know. Yeah, it's an exciting one. And again, we see some very well-known players at this final table. And we see Thomas go ahead and now has the chip lead. He does open the button with Jack 9 suited and first over 4 million. So again, Benjamin Raleigh with a really nice seat though. With the
I think it does work out well where he did take position on. I mean, he kind of has position on all the bigger stack players, and then all the short stack players are on his left. So it is a good position for him. He's able to open into the shorter stack players that are going to not want to be playing as many pots. And he does have Ben really just has like the perfect seat. I don't think he could have picked a better spot. It's always interesting with seat selection too, because I mean, when you're playing in real time, you don't really have the opportunity to like really put too much. You have the 5 minutes. I mean, I had the one chance to, I had a week to potentially study where to put my seat, but it's always so weird because you don't know what other people are thinking. So it's kind of hard to like really game plan. You kind of just have to just like see it in the 10-second window, your opportunity, and just go from there. We got PDC Mayor jamming on Pablo Silva here. I like it. I think Pablo's got, a heavy stack. He's got a big stack. He's got the chip lead and second to chips on cutoff and button, but it still doesn't. He has enough chips where he's still able to call 3-bets. He's not going to be in a weird spot where if he had like 30 or 40 big blinds, he can't really start playing his hands as optimally as he wants. And it's an interesting spot too, because if he thinks PDC Mayor is going to get out of line with jams here, he could find the call, but I think this is probably going to be a bit too thin. And he does find the fold. Yeah, if he thinks PDC Mayor is going to take like all pairs and like all offsuit aces, maybe he finds the call, but I don't think that's going to be the case.
Yeah, exactly right. This just a little too wide, and we are going to see PDC Mayor go ahead and stay in. I mean, there's still plenty of chips, right? Final table, you got more than 10 blinds. A lot can happen. There's a lot of play left in the day with 9 left, and we can see those jumps to 65K all the way up to 357. No deals. Interestingly enough, that is not a feature in the GG Super Millions. It is play for it all. So that is a dynamic for sure. And Ben getting open light there with Queen 6 suited in a good spot, picks up the chips.
Yeah, I mean, especially Pete in the big blind, he's going to be somebody that's going to be the most risk averse. And it's kind of just easier decisions versus Mark and PDC with them behind, because they're either going to be playing jam or folds. Mark especially probably won't have too many calls, and just a good pristine spot. We are going to probably be seeing a flop here. We've got Lena, Nicholas, probably going to be defending the King 10, and I mean 2 overs to the pocket 9s. Okay, I mean I don't know if this will end up being too exciting unless Mark is putting on the hero cape. I think it'll probably go check, and then no, he does throw out the min bet. Fun one here.
Yeah, this makes sense. I mean, he wants to try to just see where he's at. Maybe deny a bit of equity, just force some folds. He gets called and likely just going to take a free card on the river and then have a decision when Nicholas either bets, or even a hand like this maybe doesn't go for a bet. Although I would imagine with the check on a lot of rivers, there's going to be a bet. And I think also from this, you can sort of, if you're Nicholas, deduct that Mark would not be betting many jacks on the flop, I think. So this is a relatively safe card.
I think it's close because I mean, Lena isn't going to have. I don't think he's going to have all the King X in the world, and you could still like Lena still is going to check call a jack. So I think Mark betting a jack there is going to be fine. I think if he's betting pocket 9s, he'll be betting a jack. I think I think once we get to the situation, that's going to be tough for Mark to expect too many. It actually is kind of close there. When Lena bets a third, he is still going to have the Queen 10s, the 10-9s, I mean, he probably won't bluff face 10, but he'll have some of the bluffs. One of the problems with pocket 9s is you block some of those straight combos, the Queen 9s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Looks like Lena's going to get another opportunity to chip up too. Probably just going to be all in, fold from Shemian and Pablo. And this is what I mean. It's like Lena just gets it done. He just slowly chips up, and now he's got over 25 big blinds. He's cruising.
Yeah, this is a nice timing. A couple dangerous suited aces. Doesn't have to even go against the equity. Just picks it up. Picks up to $1 million, just under $1 million. He's got 25 bigs, so sitting pretty. Always interesting at these final tables. Sometimes it takes a while for people to get knocked out. Sometimes it goes quickly. Either way, fairly deep today, Patrick. I think we're going to get to see a nice, healthy final table and a lot of play here with the big blinds remaining. So should be a fun day.
Yeah, with the blind level increases as well, going from 40 to 50 to 60 to 70. This is a point of the tournament where the final table started is going to give a lot of opportunity to the shorter stacks to have more time to play and not be handcuffed to making some thin decision making. Whereas like there's some points of the tournament where you move up in the blind levels, and the jump between 200,000 to 250,000 is very steep, but the jump between like 40 to 50. Sometimes depending on where the final table starts can dictate how fast the final table plays.
Yeah, exactly right. Only getting dealt the hand rank 1, of course, pocket aces, the rockets, the goods, the cookies, however you want to call it. He has got a winning hand, goes for a small bet. There is a tiny bit of equity for Kevin, but not that attractive on the board there. Can't blame him for folding, and not a big pot getting awarded there. Let us know where you're watching from in the world. I know Patrick and myself enjoy you guys being here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, every Tuesday, this is another episode, season 2, episode 59 of the Super Millions. So we are going to play to a winner, and we're going to see some big payouts today with over 350,000 going to go to first place. So lots to play for today, and a lot of your favorite household names are here, including the man Benjamin Raleigh, who finished runner-up a few weeks ago and was chip leader to start the final table. So we too close to call, Patrick. There's a lot of firepower here.
Yeah, it's there's going to be a lot of exciting plays that'll dictate who's probably going to end up winning. Just a lot of big blinds in play. We got Kevin. I mean, these are two pretty strong hands in themselves. We got sixes and queen jack suited, and no player made a raise pre-flop, which is noteworthy to the ICM implications that are going on with this final table, where sixes don't necessarily want to be playing a big pot, and queen jack suited typically would raise pre-flop when facing a limp, but because of the final table, because of the ICM, it's just a hand that doesn't want to raise fold. It just wants to make sure it sees 3. And it's very glad it saw 3 because it ends up making 5 in a row, makes the straight. Don't think we'll get much value out of Kevin. I'm a bit curious what size Ole is going to pick here. If he's going to pick like some sort of overbet, if he's going to pick some sort of like half pot size. I would assume he's probably going to bet like 350 or something like that. Oh no, yeah, he goes really tiny. Interesting. I guess he's really just trying to target the 1 pairs or maybe get a cry call from 2 pair. Or some sort of induce where maybe Kevin's going to have like ace 9 or ace jack. Maybe probably doesn't have ace. That's an interesting one. A very not greedy sizing there.
Yeah, I got to mention, we got 5 repeat winners here at this Super Millions, one of the seasons. But what stands out the most is Nicholas Ostedt has 5 Super Millions titles. That is pretty insane.
He's got a lot. Whenever you click his player profile, there's very few people that you have to like skim through, and it's just like trophy, bracelet, ring, Super Millions. He's one of the few guys that has the trophy cabinet full. I think almost everyone has Everyone has the trophy banner around their name, I think, except for Kevin. But I mean, Kevin with the Netherlands regulations and a new account, I mean, that's going to, there are less opportunities for him to have the opportunity to win some marquee event. But, I mean, everyone else here is, the stable's just full of killers. It just is what it is.
Yeah, it's decorated, well decorated. And this is a flop where we do see Mark has to like it. He's got top pair, top kicker, also the nut flush draw. Now, Thomas has a decent hand. It does have a flush draw. He's also got a gut shot with it, but this sort of gets less attractive at this point. It's interesting sizing, goes a third pot. You could talk yourself into some different types of plays here, although Radoja just happens to have one of those hands that would not relinquish. And Thomas was weighing his options, but but folds. Is that something maybe a little deeper? We would have seen Thomas maybe get creative there.
Uh, I think I what's interesting about that spot is like Mark is when he opens off a shorter stack, he doesn't have as many flushes in that situation. Like the few flushes he has is basically king, queens, king, queen of hearts, king, 10 of hearts, and queen, 10 of hearts if he's opening that, but he might not open queen, 10 of hearts. So he really only has like 3 immediate flop flushes. Whereas Mulocker, when he defends his big blind, he has the massive chip lead. He can apply all the pressure. He's probably going to defend all of his suited stuff. So it is worth noting that when Mark does bet flop and bet turn, he is kind of telling a story that he has a pretty strong hand. I think if Mark's going to have like 30 or 40 big blinds, it might change a bit of what Mulocker is going to be defending. And there probably is a little bit more maneuverability, but I think the hand's like 10-8, 10-8 offsuit with the 8 of hearts. A lot of the time when hands continue from Mark's point of view, they're probably just going to be a bit too strong. And 10-8 off is either going to have reverse implied odds or just not be doing very well. You know, it hits a 9, it's still flush on the board, probably doesn't do that well. Yeah, it's interesting one.
Yeah, shout out to my man Ryan Rapaskin. I know he's watching. We got some first timers out there checking out the GG Super Millions every Tuesday, same time, same place, 2:45 Eastern. We will have a final table. We'll have a big action and a big guest to join us this week. It's Patrick Tart. Patrick, where can they follow you and sweat with you on Twitch, YouTube, all the good stuff? I know you're very active and a member of GG as well, to let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, if you guys haven't already, twitch.tv/Egption, EGPTIO, and it's in the title. Also, you got me on Twitter and Instagram at IREGPTIO and at IREgyptian. We're streaming 3-4 days a week on Twitch. As we have a race call here, PDC Mayor attacking the cutoff open. We need the rooster booster to hit a 6 here. Oh, you know what? Why do we have to get greedy here? Let's just root for the chop. Just root for the chop. Chops are fair. He's sweating an ace and a queen right now, and he fades it. Big one for PDC Mayor. You love to see it. Rooster booster in action.
That is quite a break, right? The ace-6 off gets in, could have the best hand, didn't happen to have it, and chops up. As we know, chop pots happen, and that is a big one because all the players remaining, they don't get that immediate $14,000 pay jump. And another very dangerous player, as you said, PDC Mayor, maybe not as known. He doesn't have isn't got the real name surface there, but he is he can play, Patrick. That's what you're saying. The guy's got some
I'm vouching
game.
for him, yeah. I shared a few beverages with him in Vegas and got to know him a bit. He's a great guy, top lad.
This comes up a lot, and could you maybe help clarify as a member of GG2 that people ask real name or screen name? What is the cutoff differentiation to make a player be requesting to use a real name versus being able to use a alias or a username?
I think it's interesting because there's a lot of people that have been real named that I feel like you assume the threshold is like somebody that plays like high stakes or somebody that's like active and is going to be a winning player. In general, I feel like people that are playing recreationally shouldn't be real named because I think it's a little, it's just not, I think it's better just to leave the anonymity. Some people, if they want to, in general, I think it's good, especially for these high stakes games, to have real names because you remove that anonymity of potential issues with players. There are a lot of people that just go under the radar though. They don't necessarily play any of the big high stakes stuff. They just get it done quietly, and because of that, they haven't been real named. Right. In general, I'm for it. I think in the high stakes, I think there's some people that have been real named that really shouldn't have. I think, but it's hard to know what the threshold is. I think it's situations like this where PDC Mayor wins. I think he might be getting real named here. It might be the cloth revealed. Right.
Makes perfect sense. Well, I'll tell you what, he is going to hit the straight and go ahead and lead on out. Pretty interesting not to check over here, although like a hand such as this with just a flush draw, he does get some tax on. And if you're Nicholas, a bit frustrated, you bet the flop, maybe going to earn a free card on the turn or have some options. But this particular one nuts your opponent and does lead out. And you can see the wheels spinning from Nicholas, right? He's not sure what he's going to do here, but it's a good sized bet from Pete Chen to just be, peeling for a heart with one to come. So let's see what Nicholas is going to come up with here.
Yeah, I think, I think it's a tough spot to call because even if you hit your heart, it's going to be hard to expect a queen to stack. I mean, a queen maybe still stacks off, but it's close. Yeah, Nicholas unfortunately is just gonna have to fold in that situation. I think it's fine because he could still somehow be behind a queen of like queen of heart combos. Like if it, yeah, it's a weird one there. I think Nicholas probably got saved from blasting it off as well.
Yeah, interesting line by Pete. I like where his head's at. Of course, a bit unlucky with the particular hand that Nicholas had, and maybe how he could have played differently. But as it stands, we see Pac go ahead and open under the gun with a king queen offsuit. And here we go with the big blind defense, Patrick. This is a spot I feel a lot of people. It's a tricky spot to play when you're out of the big blind, when you're just facing one player who raises, but it is early position to defend. What do you think about the 10-8 off, and what's your cutoff for defending there?
I think what's interesting about these situations is if the stacks were reversed and Pablo or Kevin was the big stack and Pablo was the small stack, I think he's probably going to fold the 10 off. But because Pablo is going to have a bit more board coverage, a wider range, so an ability to rep more value on a bunch of different board textures, it does make it a little bit more appealing to defend the 10-8 off. Because there's going to be situation. I mean, when Kevin flops the nuts, he flops the nuts straight. You're not really going to get too much of an advantage. But if flops come like, 9-7-3, or like 8-6-4, there's Pablo's still going to have all the straights. Pablo's still going to have all the two pairs. He's going to have all the sets. Whereas Kevin's going to he'll have strong hands. He'll have overpairs, but he won't ever have really the nutted hands. I don't think in this scenario Kevin's going to be opening pocket eights and stuff like that. So. Depending on the chip stacks and depending on the dynamics, the bigger stacked players are able to apply a lot of pressure. And I mean, that was a situation where we didn't really get to see it, but yeah, it's the dynamics of a big blind defense changes, especially on final tables, depending on the stack distribution and who's got chips and who's opening. But I think the most important part of poker was on display there. If you're playing flop the nuts, just make good hands, win your flips. That's the most important thing. That I think with a table of killers like that, that'll end up being the X factor.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is also a pretty tough spot for Kevin, right? In the big blind, defending Jack 9 suited, you're going to be dominated a lot. You got that extra equity on the flush pot. It's tough. I can't imagine folding the Jack 9 suited, but that's also a tricky spot to defend multi-way, right? With that stack size.
Yeah, I think it was interesting too with Pete with the call pre with the ace queen, and then he didn't really even think about it versus the turn bet. He just snap folded. I think it is complicated too because Kevin still has some strong stuff that he could be trapping and trying to check with or try to induce with. Maybe hope someone bets and he hits him with the check raise. Ben CB takes that down with the eight. It's a nice little. He's been quiet so far in this FT, so he just it's deep stacks. There's a lot going on, but yeah, I think it was interesting. I think the ace queen off peel there is close. I in general don't think it's that bad to 3-bet, but he is in a situation with his stack where there's 3 people that are decently shorter than him and he's tied with 2 other people. So right now he's sitting 4th in chips, so he probably just doesn't want to get in the mix. Hope the blinds go up a little bit, somebody gets all in. Get some pay jumps. These are massive pay jumps. Every pay jump is at least 5 figures or more. They're playing for real money here.
Yeah, it's exactly right. We talked about at the beginning of the show. We talk about it often on the show. ICM, of course, at the final table is very prevalent between 5th and 9th, sort of the most relevant. As you get shorter, the less of a thing it is, especially at heads up. It's gone, right? That's the ICM is the least as it gets shorter. So this is a critical time. You don't want to go out 9th place when you're tied for basically 4th. That would not be a good situation, especially if you get in a flip or some sort of cooler scenario. But as we see it, we got the big stacks. They're both from Austria. They both are 2 of the more renowned players in the game, and they are with 4 million plus. That one going to Mr. Thomas Mokoller is a chip leader. He has got the chip lead, Patrick, and we have seen with this distribution, it's hard to make hands, but even 9-handed, that's one of the things in Hold'em we say it's hard to make a pair. It's hard to get dealt good hands. We really haven't seen massive hands so far, at least no collisions where the money's just been inevitable to go in.
This could be an interesting one here. I think this is a bit of a tone setter. I mean, Ben CB he's got a hand that could definitely be 3-betting and attacking. I think both of these 2 players have a lot of history as well. There are going to be a subsect of like elite players that'll be like 3-betting the ace 9 suited here. Ben's electing for the lower variance peel, and playing some post flop. It's also worth noting that Mark in the big blind probably isn't going to find too many calls. A lot of his decisions will be fold or jam. Um, both players are going to be pretty wide. Ben probably won't have as many traps when he calls in the small blind, so it does become an appeasing spot where button opens wide, small blind calls less nutted hands, as Tom takes that one down. But it's an interesting one to see because Ben's not three betting the ace nine suited. He's not three betting a lot of these like semi middling spots where in chippy V you're just three betting that pure, or you're three betting that at a frequency. But in this final table distribution, this final table here, he's not finding the three bet.
Yeah, it is curious what the cutoff is, but again, just so healthy. He's got the position on Thomas almost all the time in the matchup here at the final table. And just like you said, is it really worth it to three bet, get peeled like a hand like that, give up a lot of chips? He's just happy where he's at, playing, kind of taking his time and let the other guys go to work here. And we do see Pete Chen open and fold, king 10 suited, can't blame him. And nice discipline there. He would have been in a world of hurt. And we'll move on to the next hand. And it looks like, Nicholas with the, this could be interesting, right? Because nines, it is under the gun. And this is sort of the guy. Pete Chen is maybe the most handcuffed in terms of wanting to put his stack at risk and where he's at. So it'll be curious what he comes up with here with nines.
I think it's just going to be a call. I think it's closer with tens. I think nines, eights, sevens. I think we just click the call. Anytime you're really jamming here, you're just going to be running into it if he calls. And Nicholas is going to have a tighter opening range. Like he's still going to have, I guess, stuff like this, like ace four suited. So maybe some suited aces, but the vast majority of things that he opens here are going to snap off jams. And you just don't want that right now. And Pete makes the easy decision. Ace queen deuce. Pretty hard to have worse hands and be able to still call. Even the worst hands that Nicholas is going to have is going to double barrel or triple barrel, and it's just an uncomfortable spot with the nines.
Yeah, agreed. Pretty big break for Nicholas there. How it all worked out, what position it was, what stack it was, and he did get to capitalize after out flopping the nine. So we are going to go on. Oli was thinking about the queen jack off. It's a lot to ask with some short jam stacks and also some big stacks who are capable and willing to put pressure on his stack. So he knows what's up. He gets out of the way, and here's Pete again. He keeps getting some kind of modest situations and threes in the small blind versus the chip leader. Decides that not the time. So a nice pickup from Mr. Raleigh. Going to open the 9-5 suited and pick it up.
And that's a prime spot to be opening the hands like the 9-5 suited. I think that's one thing that's slow. Like, some of the more elite players the last few years were already doing it, but we're seeing it much more frequently with even in the smaller buy-in tournaments. You just get these pristine opportunities where everyone's going to be defending so tight and responding so tightly. No one's going to be really clicking the call button. They'll either be all in or folding. So you just have this great opportunity to just open. You're printing money by opening. If somebody attacks you, so be it. But another situation here. The 7-4 suited. Pablo is a little bit deeper stacked. He is somebody that's a little bit more likely to battle. I think I'll also too. I feel like Pablo's gonna, once it goes check flop, is probably gonna come with a massive turn bet. Ben's going nowhere with two pair. This could be a fun one. I could see Pablo either going like, he only goes half pot. I could have expected larger, maybe something like 2/3. Interesting, but Ben's got a weird one with two pair versus half pot. I probably raise, but if he bet like 2/3, I think I call. Yeah, I like the raise here from Ben. I don't think Pablo is going to bet two pairs this size. I feel like he would be greedier. I feel like he should be greedier with two pairs. I think it's good on Ben for recognizing this and finding the raise. Whether or not he finds a river bet kind of just depends on the river. And Pablo lays down the monster equity. Hits him with the good play. It's worth noting that Mulocker has the helmet on, which means he can't see the emojis, can't see the chat. It's always interesting, like these elite players, like some of the best in the world, especially known for their stoicism. Why do you have the helmet on? It's like, are you really going to get affected by some chat and some emojis? Like, I'm sure maybe, a lot of the Austrians are known for their meditation and cold showers and stuff like that. I'm sure he's primed out of his mind right now. Like he could probably take the helmet off. Like, I don't know. He's got the helmet on.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't think I've actually seen that exercise very much, at least. That is quite a play there for Thomas. Full focus. Let's see if he's able to use that to his advantage. But so far, he's got the chip lead, and things definitely going well. And Ben has notably been opening up the action. He has really been taking quite a aggressive lines and opens, and that is quite a flop. Almost too much flop. What do you do here? Do you ever slip rope, or is it just you want to c bet 100%?
I think this is a situation. It's close because you kind of just block everything that continues in general, but you're going to be betting so frequently that you probably should still be betting. I think Pablo will have like a fair amount of kings that peel, but it's going to be suited kings. I think a lot of what Pablo could be betting or could be continuing with will probably call a bet. This could end up getting a bit interesting. I mean, Pablo could check and realize equity. He could also just start blasting. Oh my goodness!
The life of Ben CB. This is a wild one. What a interesting run out. I was just saying in my head, obviously the 4 would have been a crazy card, but for it to come through on the river now, it depends. What Ben bet's huge here. Well, this size surely has to get raised, right? I mean, first of all, like the things that the natural kings, you're not really thinking about king 8. I guess Ben does have the king 5 suiteds, king 8 suiteds as we see, but like you just made a house and you got to feel pretty confident you have the best hand. So it'll be curious when he gets raised and then re-raised how this goes down. But what a card for Ben.
Yeah, I think Ben's picking a size here where he could still have flushes and bet the size. He's going to bet like kings with the size. It'll be targeting, pocket pairs and stuff like that. And his bluffs don't really need to bet large either. I feel like this is a spot when you're Ben, you got to use at least like a minute of time bank. You got to use at least a minute of time bank. Because like if you had a hand that would think about bluffing here, you'd need to think it through. He just turbos it in. I feel like you got to use a little bit of time bank here. Like there is a situation where like I don't know, like if I've got a bluff here, I'm gonna sit here and think about it. Like I don't think I could ever like instantly snap jam a bluff. Like some of these players are some of the best in the world, but it's still hard to think of a snap jam.
Like, well, I'm just trying to think of like, all right, so if you're Pablo, he's gonna take some time here. If you're Pablo and your opponent has the nut flush, are they playing this way? What hand? No. Like, so now you start thinking, what boats does he have? Does he take a king X into a bluff?
And probably he's spamming thank you emojis. Oh my god. He's trying to goad him into it, but like, I think it's so tough to say, yeah, find the fold here, because it's like it's so tough to imagine him having value here, but it is very believable to play a full house like this. Like you have pocket 4s, you block some of the full houses with like king 4, but you kind of need to put them on what quads, king 8, king 5, pocket 8s, pocket 5s. I think pocket 8s and pocket 5s are fairly likely. I think it's fair. I think Pablo's also I think one of the biggest things too is like Pablo's in a situation where he really doesn't have very many strong hands other than pocket 4s. Because I think if Pablo somehow had king 8, I don't think it would check turn. If he had pocket 5s or pocket 8s, I don't think he would check turn. So that he doesn't have very many full houses.
This is Pablo's problem though. What hand does he bet the flop with, and then go like this? And the emojis are out. Mark Radoja's firing off. This is sick. This is if you need to use a restroom, folks, this might be the time. This could take a few moments to sort out. And I don't know. I mean, Pablo Silva has a Super Millions title. He's from Brazil. He's got some serious earnings. He can play some poker, and let's see if he's going to be able to work this out. But Ben has got him in the full bank. Yeah. Full meat rack here.
I would like to note this is a situation where I find a lot of people just they always feel the pressure of like acting quickly. And it's like a lot of people just don't realize like you're almost never going to use this entire and he does find the fold. I love it. I love the fold. He shows the 8. It's understandable. I think showing the 8 is worse. I think if he showed the king, I think it'd be better. I think that's a way better card to show. I think that's an amateur show from Ben. I think showing the 8 is going to get Pablo a little bit more closure. He's going to see it in 30 minutes. I think showing the 8 is going to give him more closure. I think if he showed a king, then it's a little bit more likely that maybe he turned like trips into a bluff or something like that. Because he'd bet trips on the flop. He'd check trips on the turn. He'd bet 40% on the river with trips on the with trips. So
yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Mr. Pablo Silva took down $1 million tournament just before COVID really officially struck. It was like February of 2020. He did win a live tournament for $1 million in Punta del Este. So the man knows how to do it, and he made a world-class play here. And look at this. This might This is they're back at it. This is just a whole new situation here. He sees the 3-bet and gets stuffed. And if you're Pablo
Oh,
Silva,
show the eight. Show the eight of spades.
that would be fun to show. I should have shown 2 8s. Yeah, 2 8s in a row. That is
Come
a
on,
big.
Ben.
Wow, Ben is just going nuts right now. 5.8 million. He's saying, "Bring it on." He is taking over right now, and this is becoming a bit of a nightmare if you're a short stack, right? Because now Ben's separating himself. He can really start putting pressure on. Let's see if he can keep his foot on the gas. But this has been the Ben CB show thus far. Huge start for Ben, and of course the King 8 suited was nice to get dealt a flop full house and get played back at. But he's playing well and opening a lot of hands today.
Yeah, I mean, this very strong. I like the jam with eights. I think one of the things that happens on final tables that people are adjusting and a bit over adjusting, where you know chip leader is going to open wide, so you attack his opening range, but you also don't 3-bet non all in with a lot of. I mean, I guess Pablo is deep enough where he can 3-bet non all in with his value range, but like a lot of the situations where like Pablo, maybe if Pablo had like 20 or 25 big blinds, you know, when he's 3-betting non all in, he's really only repping like aces or kings. And you have an opportunity to like 4-bet jam a lot and apply. It's like people, it's like adjustments to the adjustments. So that's why Ben's slamming there with the eights. You know, knowing Pablo is going to be able to call with like a few subsect of hands, queens plus, probably doesn't 3-bet jacks. Yeah, fun one. Ben CB is cruising.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Mark Radoja, he has got a decent hand appeal here, but again, there's a few short stacks. PDC, of course, immediately shorter. 9-7 suited side is just a little too good to not peel. He got kind of lucky. He didn't just nick the flop because he would have been in a dark place. But as it stands, a complete whiff, and he'll get out of the way. And it's still kind of on PDC Mayer to make the first move with the significantly shortest stack. Although, you know, he's through the blinds now. Obviously, doesn't have a great hand here, and no one's gone out yet. We haven't really seen too many collisions, and we still are 9-handed.
Yeah, I think next blind level is probably going to start to see some simulated death. In PDC Mayer's shoes right now, I think this is a situation too where it's like you're very short. You want a hand, but like you just don't want a hand that's like a middling spot. You don't want to get dealt like queen 10 suited, and then it's just like, you know, you face an open, or like, you know, Ben CB jams the button and you don't know what to do. This is an interesting one for Pete because it's close, because like a pocket nines blocks some of the bluffs. Like Ben's just going to be attacking with all aces, but he'll also be attacking with a lot of, you know, suited nines, even some offsuit nines. So, and it's just like Pete just doesn't want to bust. He's got PDC Mayer is going to be basically forced all in next orbit in the big blind. It's a tricky one here for Pete. I think nines just ends up being a fold here. Like, I think you could tell me Ben has ace 5 here. That's still probably fold nines a lot of the time. Well, I mean, if I know he's ace 5, I'd jam. But knowing he's going to be this wide with 3-betting, I think I don't know. It's close. This is an interesting one. This one would be one to check with the computer simulations another time.
Yeah, this is one of the you could talk about a simulation or running it. I'm pretty sure you're right. It is a fold, especially with his position. But given the sort of way this has been shaping up, and also if you're watching the stream, it's on delay, maybe he sees how wide Ben's opening, how aggressive he's 3-betting, but still it's not fun to put yourself at risk when your stack is worth, let's say, 150K or so, maybe 160K, right? You're sort of in that middling 4 or 5 spot. So it's definitely tricky. And cheers to Ben. He's putting on an absolute clinic. Shout out to Raise Your Edge. You guys know, he can do it. And he is executing on the game plan today. You know what's funny? He came on the show as a guest maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. He said he really hadn't had much success in the Super Millions. And then he got second a week later. And now here he is, chip leader a few weeks. What do you think, Patrick? Do you feel after doing Super Millions commentary, or any commentary for that matter, do you ever feel it kind of brushes you up? I don't want to call it booth magic, but does it feel like a good refresher for you?
Yeah, I think one of the benefits, I mean, it's probably less so for Ben. You know, he's already at the top of the echelon in general. But you know, for someone like myself, like, yeah, I play against some of these guys pretty regularly, but also just like watching how all of them play, you kind of we're learning here. We're learning how the elites play. You know, we see something we don't understand, we could take that, study it, and be like, oh wow, this is why this person's doing it. I think one of the most important things with final tables like this is a lot of these players are very elite. If you don't understand it or you think something's silly, you got to remember that these guys are very, very good at what they do, and they are very, very intricate with their thought process. So if you're able to put yourself in their shoes and you go, oh, that's why they did it, then you understand like, oh, wow, this is an interesting situation where they're thinking like this, and I can maybe take this and use that in my game. There's a lot of things that you could take from this final table and learn and improve from, which could lead to booth magic. You know, maybe this weekend. Hey, let's take the booth magic, and then I make day 2 of the WSP main. That's what I want. Just make day 2. I don't need to win it. I don't even need to cash it. I just want to stop playing. I just want to stop firing bullets. I'm in for 4 so far this week. I got 5 minutes away from day 2 yesterday or on Sunday. I busted in the final 5 minutes. That one hurt. I just want to stop.
And is
that the 5K buy-in?
Okay.
It's the WSP main event online. The World Series of Poker going online still right now. You guys haven't read it. It's the final week, the main event. It's the $5,000 short deck today. So if anyone's feeling spicy, want to battle some of the elite short deck players, now's your chance. It's a pricey one, but you know it's gonna have a lot for first. You know.
Yeah, and can you tell me about the main event, Patrick? As you said, the 5 mil, 20 mil, 5K 20 mil guaranteed. It's the most prestigious online. It's like basically the main event for the World Series of Poker Online. What are those flights? How many flights are left? When can people play those?
Yeah, I think we got one Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. As we have Pablo jamming the 9s here on the Pete's Open. It's the final week, so they're running a couple more flights. In the past, it was like it was a flight only every Sunday, and now it's the final week of flights. They're running a couple more. I think it's going to absolutely crush the guarantee. I think at the end of Sunday, it was like 7 mil off or like 6 mil off. I could be wrong, but I think it's going to crush the guarantee. I don't think it's going to beat 2020's record, but it's doing very, very well. You love to see it. NCB opening, gonna get one of the first few instances of him getting punished for his wider opens. I mean, this isn't the craziest of opens. Oh, he's hitting him with the troll goodbye. What I find interesting about this, on a side note, is I feel like a lot of professionals, a lot of regular players, when they hit the pre-goodbye emoji, they almost never call. I think there's like, it's like a weird thing where like they always know like when you spam the goodbye emoji, you're gonna joke like, haha, I'm calling, you're going home. But I think a lot of players don't realize that they just never end up calling. It's like a weird emote. Like I think you're in trouble if they use the just one time emoji. I think that's the time where you're like, oh crap, I'm getting called.
Yeah, definitely a good adjustment. Well, here we're going to see a huge flip, 10s to ace queen suited. Nicholas going for another title. It doesn't seem like often, and that is a sweaty turn though. A little extra equity coming. Let's see if it can fade the river. And
it's a force. Oh my god!
Oh wow! But it is clean and it is dangerous for the field because this man Nicholas Osted has got 1.8 million, and we have still seen no one, and the stacks are getting tighter. And if you're PDC mayor, that hurts the most because you would have got a 14K pay jump. But as it stands now, he is on the chopping block. Not a lot of room to be picky here, but he still is kind of deciding, okay, I still can take sort of to my big blind, king 6 off, not a great hand. There's a lot of players left and still a chance someone could get collided. I'll tell you who's had a tough go here. Pete Chen made a nice 3-bet with that ace 7 off. I like him going at Ben Raleigh on that hand. That was aggressive. He got it through, and here he is opening again, and he's got a difficult hand, right? 7s, middle position, 9-handed final table. Definitely can get played back at, and let's see what happens here from the big blind. I don't think Ole's going to be – actually, Ole's spinning, though. Spinning the wheel. Not going to go for it.
Yeah, I think actually I would probably just fold 7s. I think this is one of the like 7s, 6s, 5s are just like kind of in the bin in this sort of situation. You probably just don't want to be playing too many hands. It's kind of like 6s, 7s, 8s are just like not doing that well, especially when you're opening. I think if Mulocker was small blind and Shemian is a big blind, I think it's a different story. I think it's going to be okay to open. It probably won't be that bad. But I think 7s here is pretty close as an open. He does get it through. Fortunately, doesn't get some sort of scary flop. Pretty easy board for him to see bet. Takes it down. Pete's been the most active, and he's also stayed the most consistent with his stack, whereas we've seen everyone else has chipped down significantly. I mean, Kevin came in with a decent stack. Pablo especially, but Pablo got scammed. He ran full house into full house and didn't lose at all. So Pablo definitely got the most scammed so far. But I feel like the fact that you got Ben, you got the chip lead, that's a huge edge in the snake pick. I think I got Lena though. Like I said, he doesn't lose these flips. Like Lena's a thoroughbred when it comes to winning high equity spots. There, he's just not losing that ace queen versus tens there ever.
Wow, look at this from Ole Shemian. Puts on the 9-9. Ben saying, look, anything more, I would have maybe played with you, but for that shove there, does give it up. And what do you think? Putting it on the line with Jack Queen suited, it just seems it has to be the best play. Doesn't want to min raise, doesn't want to fold, so it goes ahead and jams.
I think it's definitely not going to want to min raise. You're not going to be trying to play pots with the small blind and big blind, people that are have the opportunity to play hands with the bigger stacks. As we have PDC Mayor jamming. Ben, yeah, I don't think Ben. I couldn't see Ben's hand, but Ben's probably not going to find the fold. But yeah, interesting one here. Big flip. That's a bad flop for PDC Mayor. I was just saying, we need some rooster booster. We need at least club river. Don't be a diamond. No. GG. You hate to see it. The rooster booster. I mean, he survived a little bit. He had the one chop pot. It just wasn't enough. GG's to our friend. Yeah, the mayor of Playa del Carmen out here in 9th place.
I like the screen name. I like the effort, and I like the score. 51,000 going his way. Nicely done, and we're down to 8, so 65K guaranteed. We are going to play to a winner, and we have got to get the Ben CB show underway. Look at Pete saying, all right, I had a good hand in the big blind, and running hot, definitely hot to get a walk, even if you got played at. That is certainly a welcome sight to get a walk at a high buy-in, high equity spot final table. Ben going to pass on the 5 deuce suited. Mr. Radoja getting a couple of ladies on the puck. He is going to open it up, and Nicholas will have a bit of a decision here, closing the action. 10-5 suited. Player again. Think they have a lot of experience playing with each other, right? They play this tournament weekly. They know each other, and we are going to see a flop. 10-5 suited, completely whiffing. However,
yeah. I think it's going to be a boring end result here. It's a little bit curious whether or not Nicholas will defend the 10-5 suited. There is a bit of a risk premium. Mark probably won't be opening as wide. I mean, 10-5 suited is going to be a bit fringe. I think 10 deuce suited would have been my true, like, I wonder what Lena's going to do here. This is an easy one.
You mentioned risk premium, which concept I'm very familiar with. Could you maybe explain that, though, how that means with what you have to risk if you were to go out next? Are you saying from a perspective Mark is going to be opening wider because his risk premium is the lowest, or from Nicholas' perspective, he should maybe be tighter because he's shorter? I think you mean the first scenario.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's kind of close because like Mark, Pete, Nick, Pablo, Kevin, Ole, all basically have the same stack. I think, one smallish pot is the difference between all their stacks right now. So it's in their best interest to really not play too many hands versus each other and not really force anything. Because when you battle with, someone else at the table, as we got Pete here picking up aces, but probably won't pick up too much other than the blinds. Maybe Ben opens, he 3-bets him. I think that's going to be the only thing, but Pete's going to pick up this pot. But as I was saying, when you battle with the rest of the table, a lot of the time you don't really make money. Everyone else at the table makes money. If Pablo and Mark battle and play a big pot, the people that make the most money are the people, or unless somebody has a really good hand. Nicholas, Pete, and Kevin are just printing when these guys end up slamming heads against each other. So you kind of, there's a sort of like, it's a bit of game of chicken. It's a bit of prisoner's dilemma of you want to be able to take chips from people, but you don't want to battle against people. So with the risk premium, it becomes a situation where, the chips that you lose are worth more than some of the chips that you gain.
Right. That's sort of how I saw this going down. I didn't think Ben would open the deuce 6 suited. He's been super wide, but that's just a little too low in the range, I think, with the holding. And as we see a defend here from 5-6 suited, does go with a check call. This is a very interesting turn. Does give an additional equity to the 5-6 suited. Also, does have some blockers to the nuts, right? 4-6 suited. Does he defend? Maybe. He defended 5-6 suited, so I would think the answer is yes. If you're P-Chan, though, you have aces, King 5-3, Rainbow, turn 7. 550 in the middle. Got to be thinking about a healthy-ish bet. He does go for half pot, and now Kevin sort of starts getting a little bit, just gets dicey, right? It's possibly you have the best hand. You don't really want to be calling this bet on the turn, and this is not a dream scenario for Kevin.
No, I think one of the fun things to think about, one of the important things to think about is if he calls here and does realize his equity, I mean, there's always pot odds, and you look at the pot odds of things, but like it's also if you hit a 4, a 5, or a 6, you know, and you do improve your hand, you do make the stronger hand if you didn't have the best hand already. Wow, as Pete just kind of turbos in this river. It's a question of like, do you even get any more money into it? If you check, do they bet? If you lead for whatever size that you bet, are you going to get called? Yeah, it's an interesting situation. I feel like if I'm Kevin, I don't think I'm gonna ever find the call here. I think he just trusts Pete. He did act really, really fast, and that 7 is like a. I mean, Kevin doesn't have too many 7s in this situation, but he'll have some. He'll have 6, 7. He'll have. I guess if he has 6, 5, he might have 7, 4 here. It might be a bit wide, but yeah, does just take it down.
Hold on one sec. I hear my son.
Yeah, I'll take it from here. I mean, we have our first elimination. Break just wrapped up. So again, the first hour of play so far, and we've only had one elimination. PDC Mayor going out in 9th place for 51,000. All players locked up 65,000 right now. Stacks are getting close. We're in a situation where almost all the short stacks are shorter than 30 bigs. Oh, we've got a confrontation here. Pocket fives up against ace deuce. Shemian with the call. Whoa. I think whenever in these situations you look for the outs, you don't notice the 5, but Kevin flops, trips, needs to fade a 3, and he does. Kevin, my pick, ends up scooping a big one here. Gets the big double. I think Ole Shemian, I think he called the jam there for about like 12 or 13 big blinds. That in itself seems pretty close. I think he snapped it too. Jeff, I don't know. You might have missed that one there. Kevin jam blind versus blind with pocket fives. Ole Shemian calls with the ace deuce offsuit, and Kevin flops the set and holds. I think it's actually interesting the snap call there. I don't think it's a call. So it's interesting to see him not tank at all and kind of just like turbo it in. But it is worth noting that some of these players, especially at the higher end, don't always follow what the Hold'em resources calculator, the ICMizers of the world, the outputs. Some of these guys operate on some different terms. To me, I'm pretty sure the ace deuce just ends up being a fold. Interesting one. Kevin picks up the pot.
Yeah, and of course there is some more familiarity amongst this crew at the high stakes level, so maybe could be a bit of exploitative too, just deciding that even knowing the right place, because definitely I can tell you Ole Shemian, if anyone knows the right book play or if you will, the computer simulation type ideal situations, I'm pretty sure he's one of the more versed, although could deviate a bit, and shows also his willingness to go for it, right? He definitely could sit back and hit fold, and does make a looser call, and didn't work out for him there.
Yeah, it's also a thing too. I think it's good when you do make calls like that. It's just like it kind of puts the fear of people. It's like, these like closer calls, like, if somebody jams on me, they know I'm going to fold like some stuff. But when you jam on some of like the elite players, and they're just going to call you with some wide stuff, it gives a little bit of hesitation. I know all these guys are elite, but like, if somebody's playing against Ole Shemian and you final table with him in like the 250 monster stack, you got to beware that he's gonna gamble it up with you. They aren't afraid to take the close spots that some lesser experienced, lesser wealth players might not take.
Well, Mark Radoja here with the premium holding does just call ace queen suited. He is against queens. He's in a bit of a cooler, but potentially going to be able to avert danger, although does flop double gutted with drawing to 2 overs on the 10 jack 8, and Nicholas Ostad, who does get a powerful flop, no over, and is going to go ahead and confidently bet here. If you're Mark, kind of hard to imagine he's not going to be continuing for some chips here, and you can see the wheels spinning, but both players got to like this flop.
Yeah, I wonder if Lena didn't have the queen of spades. Oh my goodness!
Woo! Tell you, I'm his good luck charm. I always say it, but Mark Radoja, ever since 2011, that fateful day where played us a big one. This is a interesting turn card. If you're Nicholas, I mean, you like the flop. It's a bit connected. Definitely could be behind, and this is a peculiar card because you kind of improve. Well, you feel okay about it, but you don't love it. And as it plays, Mark has the absolute stone cold nuts on the river. Now it's about what can he bet, how much, what does he get called by, and these guys know each other very well. So I'm very curious on the type of sizing that Mark comes with here.
Yeah,
around
because
two-thirds pot, but
yeah, because it's interesting because you need to think about when he picks the half pot. You need to think about what your bluffs want to do and what your bluff sizes you want to pick, and you need to think about. There's so many things to think about here, and there's so many like parts of this hand where it's like you kind of got to think like, what does Nicholas have? What are we targeting? When we pick the size, what are we trying? If we were trying to be bluffing, what are we trying to make fold? If we're value betting, what are we trying to get to what are we trying to make indifferent? Like, when he bets half pot here, is he trying to make a jack indifferent? Is he trying to make a 10 indifferent? Is he trying to make a 10 sometimes fold here? Is he trying to make a jack sometimes fold here? Is basically what I'm getting at. There's a lot to think. I don't know if I could break this one down. This one's an interesting one. It's a tough one.
There is a
with
lot.
Nicholas checking the turn. There's a lot to, because you got to go street by street. This is a fun one. I'm curious. I don't think Lena will turn this into a bluff. Like, he blocks queen 9, and he blocks ace queen, but I don't think he's gonna turn this one into a bluff, because it's also a situation where like Lena's not going to check queen 9 and he's not going to check ace queen, so he's not going to be necessarily too nutted either. He's not going to have an insane amount of strong hands here. I think if he has sets on turn, he bets. If he has straights on turn, he bets. If he has like king jack, I think he bets. He is kind of just like capped, and I think it then boils down to he doesn't have very many strong hands. What is half pot trying to make fold? And
well, yeah, he did bet 100 on the flop, right? So he bet 100
Yeah.
into. So yeah, I mean, this is
he bet a
like,
one third size.
Yeah, I'm
That's fun to fold.
very nice, very nicely done, and a little, I guess, lucky but unlucky, and lucky for Radoja on the card, but unlucky that Nicholas was able to get out of harm's way there. And as it plays an important pot where Mark Radoja is up to 1.5 million, we still see Ole very short, and we see Nicholas still at 1.35. So it's really jumbled up here. You got Ben CB, who has got the license to go, and Jack Deuce off. Look at this. I mean, just gotta think what percent he's raising the button. It's got to be in the high 90s. And he does get defended by 8-10 off. So Pete Chen's showing he's willing to play with 2 million chips here, plenty of blinds, and Ben now flopping.
Probably going to bet half pot here. I bet just a third. Yeah, I think when Pete defends here, he's not going to have a lot of these low combination combos because, he doesn't want to be playing some crazy hands. A lot of the time when he defends, he's going to have like some higher combination stuff. Maybe he has like some suited king 4, king deuce type stuff, but those aren't going to be too particularly sticky after a couple streets of betting. Yeah, Ben does just take that one down. I think the 10-8 off defend ends up being pretty close too, because I mean he just doesn't want to be losing chips. We got Ole here. I mean, after losing the big flip, probably going to be flipping here with Muehlacher.
Yeah, he is going to get some extra money on his value for his money with the blinds and the ante. You can see he's got 224 total. There's an extra 150 in the middle. So big flip here for Ole to get back in the game. Thomas, of course, with that powerful ace queen, does pair the queen on the flop, jumps to an 86% favorite, but check mark. Game blouses on the turn. Ole, that is a guy that can do it. If there's a guy that you don't count out, Ole Shemin, 600,000, one of the world's best. And you know what? Pete Chen, I got to say, up to 2 million. Very impressive for how much, like you said, a few spots where it's close. Seen him going for it. We saw him make a light 3-bet. I like how Pete's played today, definitely showing some moxie, and this is a household final table, Patrick. Of course, the Super Millions, but look at these names. I mean, we're talking about with the remaining, we have got 8 players, and we have got 8 big names. I am familiar with all these players, and probably many of you are as well. And this is going to be too close to call. You got to give a big advantage to Ben. Excuse me. Look at him, double second place. I mean, Ben has got a huge amount of chips compared to the field right now.
Yeah, I think Muehlacher, it's been a couple X factor coin flips where like, the losing the ace queen in that particular spot wasn't insanely impactful, but it is, that 600K difference is important. Or losing the flip to Lena, that was like a 2 million chip swing where he would have been still tied with Ben. Losing these high equity pots kind of just like dropped him in a situation where he's not going to be able to do as much anymore. Probably won't be able to be as active as Ben is. Interesting 3-bet here with Pablo. Oh my goodness. This could get fun because I mean, Pete's probably going to have king jack and king queen suited here. Maybe king queen off. I don't think he'd peel king jack off. And Pablo blocks king jack suited. I really hope Pete doesn't fast play. I really, really hope he doesn't find some sort of raise here. I mean, I think this is just a click the call button. Interesting turn. Pairs the board. I think this ends up being a better card for Pablo too, because his 3-bet bluffs will have 4s in them. Ace 4 off, ace 4 suited. It's kind of a weird situation though, where you don't necessarily, you need to decide if your hand has to bluff, if you could beat anything, if it can go check, check, or if you even want to continue barreling, if you want to barrel this one off. Like ace jack suited is in this like middling zone where it might not need to bluff on this sort of run out.
He does go for a bet, goes for about quarter pot exactly. And yeah, I mean, if you're Pablo, there are some hands you're beating. This is a very interesting spot, and nice by Pete not to fast play. Got to imagine the king 9-4 rainbow. It's about as bladed as you can get. But as it turns out, Pablo now, yeah, pretty dicey spot. Can't imagine really continuing here. You do beat some of those suited broadways, Jack 10, Jack Queen suited, but you're blocking one of those. And again, just not really the time to be speculative in calling down. So really well played from Pete. He is up to 2.6. Begs to ask about that ace jack suited. Maybe too cute on that stack size to just shove, or do you like the 390 there?
I think it might be a situation where you might need a bit of KYC. We might need to know your customer. I don't know. I don't know if Pete's going to respond how Pablo wants him to respond when he 3-bets not all in there with ace jack suited. I don't know if Pete's going to be 4-bet jamming stuff that Pablo can induce with. Like, I don't know if he expects Pete to slam in like ace 10 off, or like, you know, jam all of his like wheel suited aces. I think that, yeah, it's an interesting one, because it kind of depends how Pablo perceives the situation. Does he plan on folding to 4-bet jams? Does he plan on calling 4-bet jams? What does he think Pete's going to click call with? I don't know if he's going to expect Pete to call king 9 suited. I wouldn't have expected it. I thought he'd fold it. It's an intricate situation where you kind of need to know the thought process of Pablo to determine, you know, what he's trying to achieve there with the 3-bet.
All right. Well, ace king does just go ahead and check it over twice, and now ace 10 suited decides time to bet. And if you're Thomas, you got a healthy 3 mil, could have the best hand here. Do you want to go and continue? But we see a fold, and Pete Chen, everything kind of working for Pete right now. He's got a good seat to the left of Ben. He's almost to 3 million, and he has definitely been playing on the more aggressive side. Likely here go open from Ben, and Pete with 3 million likely call. I think at this point he's been playing a lot of pots, and I think he'll.
I actually say this is probably a 3-better fold. I think with ace jack off, you probably don't want to be trying to play I guess no one's going to really be calling behind. But this sort of hand, yeah, it prefers either 3-betting or folding. I don't think you necessarily want to be trying to play pots with Ben.
Yeah, and Oli does have a shorter stack too in the big blind. To maybe he comes along as well. It gets dicier. So yeah, nice situation for Pete. He does go with the 3-bet, and Patrick sniffed that out. And he says running hot. He is running hot. He's up to 3.1 million, and he is really cruising. And Ben still sitting very, very healthy, but he has now got. Looks like he might. You know, Pablo and him have been tangoing a lot. Is this Pablo's time? He's under the gun. Ben opening up, but that doesn't mean much with his stack and how liberally he is opening. So let's see if Pablo can go ahead and stuff this in. But still, 784, king, queen off, 3 more players to act. Oli's shorter. Your rate under the gun is opening. Do you have a lot of fold equity? And Pablo just decides, you know what, enough's enough. Let me shove this in. And Ben getting close. Could be flipping. Doesn't want to call it off, though.
Yeah, I like the spot. I think Ben's in a situation where he's able to just raise a lot, take pots down. He doesn't really need to crank the variance here by taking these sort of like thinner calls. He doesn't really achieve much by by calling these shorter stack all-ins with medium strength hands. There's some hands sure that he's maybe flipping against, but a lot of time he's either going to be dominated or 40%. So yeah, I think Ben's in a situation where he's just going to be able to raise a lot of pots with like hands like 9-5 suited, take it down, just slowly chip up, and I think that's one of the stronger ways to chip up in here on this final table. I'm curious if Thomas is going to find the limp call here with Jack 8 off, because this one's dicey. You have, we see the fold. He has a stack that just doesn't want to collide at all. He just doesn't. He doesn't want to be playing pots, because the more chips he loses, the more he gets pushed down to the rest of the stacks. He's able to just kind of coast and get a couple pay jumps, and hopefully wait till like 5 left before he has to do anything. Yeah, unfortunate final table for our second and third place chip stacks. Pablo and Mulocker have just had bad beat after beat. I mean, start with Mulocker even chopping with the ace queen versus PDC Mares ace six. Pablo Silva, just every hand history is just not the board runouts you need to win tournaments.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, got to have some luck, especially at this kind of caliber of final table. There's so much money at stake as we go and move up here. So every pot's so important, and so many players with such great game plans. This is an interesting one, and you got to believe again, Ben has found himself at the top of the totem pole here. He is chipping up and likely going to be doing so more often as we see him still hovering at 6 million chips, balls in his court, no doubt.
It was an interesting spot with Mark. He did snap fold, but it could have warranted some thinking. When you've got the ace four off there, Ben's going to be opening so wide, and I think he's going to also inversely be calling tighter. I don't think Ben's going to raise call ace nine off there. I think if you know, we've had the magic of watching every cards up. You know, these guys are playing live; they don't get to see the cards as they're rolling out. Right? They're not going to see the hand immediately after. They have to wait the 30-minute delay. But it could be a situation where it might actually be fine for Mark to jam there. He does have fold equity. The 20 big blinds is a massive portion of Ben's stack. Ben's healthy, Ben's comfortable, but if he doubles up one of these like 20 or 30 big blind stacks, you know, that's a hit to his stack. So you are able to sort of, you know, he's opening very, very wide almost every hand on the button, and then he's also only like call like, I don't know, like what, 8-10% of the time. It does give yourself the opportunity to sort of take these wider jams and chip up, so you're not just, you know, slowly chipping down. But as you see this Mark taking this rejam spot with the king queen, big one here for Oleg.
Yeah,
these are both your guys.
Yes, this is important for everyone, but king queen suited in a phenomenal position going to the river, and it is going to be a jack,
my goodness.
Though. And for me, I guess it's probably good, right? Keep the guys both in a million. And as Ole's got some emojis, I don't know what's happening there. That is I don't know if that's a custom emoji or from his own arsenal there, but we see a celebration nonetheless. 1 million chips back in the game. Ben says so sick. The Austrian flags stay healthy. We've lost a Mexican flag there. Mark Radoja is representing, and of course, some of the biggest names still in as we see Pete Chen going to open the ace-9 suited surely, and not a lot of customers behind. You see that chess clock ticking down. Everyone's sort of around 10 minutes plus. Pablo Silva had that boat over boat. He did suss out the right decision, and he has got 7.5 minutes. But so far, everyone playing really quick. And again, these guys know what they're doing, Patrick. There's not a lot of time taken for unnecessary spots. But what do you think about the chess clock format on GG for the final tables? And how is it as a streamer with that? Could you explain? Because if you make a final table and you're streaming, what are your options?
Yeah, I was going to say, as a player, I really like it. I think it's a good way to, because a lot of the time people will, like, you know, pre-flop decisions on other sites. You know, you've got that 15-second window. A lot of people will take that full 15 seconds, so they don't have timing tells, and you know, they'll take their time. Whereas if you do that every time on major GG final tables with the chess clock, you're going to burn your clock, and you won't have time to think about situations when you need to think about it. I think it's important because there's going to be a lot of scenarios on final tables where you're going to want to be able to think about it, and you're playing for the most amount of money. I like it. And it also, I think going with chess clock with number of hands, I think the pace of play on final tables is significantly better, and it's more enjoyable. People snap back. People, if they have auto folds, they just fold. They don't waste time. They're not Hollywooding unnecessarily. Everyone's the pace of play is good. As a streamer, I've had, I think, a handful of times where I've had to kill the stream because somebody's just gone into the tank too long. Somebody's taken too long, and I'm kind of just like, all right, well, I can't let this pop up on stream. Restart. It's a bit of a headache, but it's also with longer delay. I've got a 5-minute delay. I am, you know, a little bit more equipped. You know, maybe the hand naturally could take like 2.5 minutes, and then if somebody tanks for like 2 minutes, I still have the wherewithal to be able to, you know, nuke the stream before the hand pops up. It doesn't happen often. I'd say it happens once every like 4 to 6 months on average that I've had to kill a stream, which isn't that bad. I think in terms of amount of streams, it's definitely worth the trade-off of having, you know, you're in a big turn situation, you're facing a tough decision, being able to take like, you know, a minute, or you're on a river and you're able to take like 2.5 minutes. This is a big river decision. I like it. I think the chess clock is a great great feature that GG has, and it's one of the reasons why GG's the number one site right now.
Yeah, well said. So so let me ask you, versus just going to a final table and then immediately killing the stream and starting up and putting a longer delay, or it even doesn't quite address it anyway, right? Because you have to set like a 10 or 15-minute delay anyway. So it's kind of like,
yeah,
and then
I think
the vibe. Yeah.
Yeah, as I say, I think as a streamer, once you kill the stream and come back, there's like maybe like 30% of people don't come back, or 30% you just lose. Like whenever a stream cuts for whatever reason, whether it's internet disconnection or you had to restart the stream, it's just like it's a complete hiccup to the overall stream. I've always just kept the 5-minute delay. Things have been comfortable. Things have been fine. Yeah, it is a trade-off as a streamer, as an ambassador for GG, when you're putting your cards live on stream with a 5-minute delay. You kind of have to deal with it, but I think it's a fine trade-off. I can live with it.
Yeah, I think that's well said. Well, this is interesting because we got a couple of real hands and a couple of competent, aggressive, strong players with big chips, and ace-10 suited Ben, though, just a little too good to raise and get blown off of it. So in this particular stance, he will call. And Nicholas, again here.
In the big blind.
In the big blind, 8-10 suited, 1.1 million. Let's see how he operates this particular spot. He does call and flop top pair. Dicey, though. This is an exact example of why playing a hand like this is so tricky. And he has got a lot has to go right for him to either win or get the showdown. But as it plays, Ben likely check this back too. I don't know. He's got backdoor hearts, backdoor straights. I don't know if he's going to want to start shooting here. Although I guess he figures Nick can't play two out of line, so he does go for it. Surprised here a little for me.
This might be a situation where he might have induced Nick to somehow check jam. Mulocker is going to rejam, and then Ben just gets out of the way. He might have incited violence here with this bet. I think it's interesting because Nicholas does just find the top pair full. Good on him. I think Mulocker. It's an interesting spot now for Mulocker too, because if he check raises, turns like the jack of spades, it gets interesting. Yeah, he does just choose to go with the check call.
Wow. Ben CB does pick up, Benjamin Raleigh does pick up a gut shot. So a little bit part. What would he do at 9-10 suited? Do you think 9-10 suited flats, 3-bets? So that's sort of one of the questions here that will be going through Mikoler's mind. Thomas, I always pronounce his name wrong. It just seems
Mulocker.
Mulocker. There we go. Oh, we're in it. We're in it now. And there it is. We are in a river, and Thomas has the best hand on the river, and Benjamin has got a loser. Can he get to showdown? Ace King suited does check, and Ben maybe thinks he beats some suited, Jack Queen, King Jack of clubs, but I don't know if he feels the necessity to bluff here. He also loses to a variety of hands. So let's see what he comes up with. 868 in the middle.
Yeah, this could be fun. I mean, Ben, if he had a straight on the turn, would just be betting the turn. If he had 10-9 or 5, if he had a set on the turn, he's just going to keep betting. In a situation where Mulocker's not going to have very many straights in the situation, Ben just elects just to give it up. It's also a spot. Yeah, Ben bets a lot of his value on the turn, so it's kind of hard to rep anything. Mulocker doesn't have necessarily that many strong hands, but it's also, Ben doesn't either. So it's a game. You're kind of in a weird spot where you probably just can't fire it in. You just have to accept it. And ace 10 does have showdown value. I think if Ben, Ben probably wouldn't check turn with jack 10. But if Ben had some sort of hand that he knew with 100% wasn't winning at showdown, maybe he throws a bet in. But
yeah, Mulocker is up to 3.5, good enough for second place. Stack's getting short a lot of the way here, other than the Pete Chen 3 million and Mulocker's 3.5 million, and Pablo Silva here in the big blind closing the action. He did get he'll probably see that ace jack to king 9 suited, that hand play out. This time he goes for a call, doesn't 3-bet his hand. Of course, very delicate times and stack sizes. Ace 8 suited flops, middle pair, top kicker, queen 8-5, a rainbow. This has got a variety of options. Pete decides to check back and gets a welcoming turn, although it does bring a possible flush to the board. King 10, not going to be loving this board.
Oh, I think Pete's going to be pretty satisfied with this turn card. I mean, turning 2 pair here, not a lot you're behind against, especially if Pablo starts with a check here. Pablo will have a lot of flushes here, but I think if you start bluffing King 10 offsuit without a spade, you're probably just going overboard here. Also, you're going to kind of need to rely on the fact that like when Pete checks back, he is going to have a fair amount of aces in his subsective hands. Pete does go for the bigger bet. I think we'll just see the end of this hand here. Yeah. Pete takes it down, and Pete has chipped up quite significantly. There was a good point of this tournament where he could have ended up being the ninth place player, and he's fought hard, continued to battle, and let's not forget I have Pete. You took Mark here. you Pete. It would be great if Pete, in the snake pit getting last, ends up finding a way here. He's second in chips now with that jam. He's moved up the leaderboard. You love to see it. Fellow ambassador Pete Chen.
Yeah, really playing well and playing to win. I'll say he's shown some for sure stepping out of some close opens. Also got a light 3-bet in against the chip leader, the ace-7 off correctly. Not easy to pull the trigger, right? You get flatted, you get stuffed on. It was an important pot, and it sees himself in a very powerful position. All of a sudden, basically tied for second place currently. And Radoja getting dealt a bit of a tricky one, but 10 blinds under the gun plus 1 8-handed. Certainly a playable hand. He is going to go for the full bit, and Thomas with a pretty hand in the big blind. Not to call off with queen high though versus this particular action. It's close, but definitely I believe it's a bit too much here. And with his stack, not going to be doing so.
Gets away from it. It's I mean, we're 4 hands away from the blind levels going up. It's going to go up to 80,000. And after that, I mean, Nicholas, Mark, Ole, Pablo are all going to be 10 to 12 big blinds next blind level increase. I think 80K big blind is probably going to be the bell of death for these guys. I think we're going to start seeing at least 1 or 2 people get eliminated here. Maybe some of the shorter stacks collide, or Ben ends up stacking one of the shorter stacks. I think next blind level is where we're going to start losing people.
Yeah,
Ben. It's been a grind so far.
It has. Thomas going to limp in. He's gotten to limp in a fair amount, and this is a spot where Ben just decides, you know what, I got a pair, beating some things, and this is getting a little interesting now because Mulacher is got additional equity. He does have the 4-5s. He also has some big hands here. So on the ace king deuce, he decides to check. He has got a currently second best hand, and he does not improve. So kind of a wild run out. Goes check on the turn, and let's see now in the river. Queen high gets called on the flop. Can't believe he's got too many of the best hands often. And Ben though with the deuce, probably happy to just show this down and picks it up.
Yeah, I think Mulacher is going to have a lot of strong hands as well. He'll have a fair amount of kings and a fair amount of aces just because he's not going to be wanting to raise into the chip lead, bloat the pot out of position. Ben's in a bit of a weird spot too, where a deuce isn't always going to be good there. You might need to sometimes bluff because Mulacher's going to have a lot of one pair hands that probably don't put bets in. It's one of those like middling spots where you check back, and I don't think you really lose too much money. This is an interesting one with given the stack distribution. I think Ben could just jam here. And Mark's kind of just handcuffed. I mean, he can also pick the non-all-in size. He goes, what is this, 2.2 big blinds? Yeah, 2.2 big. Yeah, 2.2 big blinds, which is 3.2 big blinds. He's basically applying pressure. He's going to be doing that with the subsect of hands like that, like 7-4 off, and he'll probably be doing it with things like ace king off or ace queen off, things that want to induce action or want to still play pots with hands that are happy just to either take it down or face a jam and fold. Yeah, I kind of want to see Lena pick up chips because I know in those sort of situations, blind versus blind, I know Lena's a very creative cat when it comes to 3-bet blinding, blind versus blind in those scenarios. So I would like it if, besides the fact that I picked him for the win, but if Lena could pick up some chips and then we get some creative pots here, that'd be fun.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. This is a very interesting shakeout with the 6 million versus 3 million and 3 million. So kind of a huge gap. And then there's some really jumbled stacks here. I mean, if you look at it between Mark, Ole, Kevin, Pablo, and Nicholas, not much separates it. And here, ace 8 off is going to get a jam in. So there it is. Nicholas picks up, kind of pushes himself back into the upper echelon of the shorter stacks, tied sort of with Kevin now. And Mark Radoja, Ole, and Pablo are now on the shorter side. And Ben really has a license to go crazy. Gets one of the worst hands you can have, 3 deuce offsuit. So does decide that's not enough. And here we go. Ace Jack versus King Deuce suited. We do see some light calls all in. I don't know if he wants to induce or shove. Shove seems to make more sense. He does rip it in, Pablo. King Deuce suited. This is close, but not fun to call it off. He is the shortest. His risk premium the lowest. We mentioned that term earlier, but I don't know. I don't know if it's quite good enough.
Yeah, I think it's going to end up probably being a fold. I'd imagine like King 5 suited is close, and then you probably call King 6 suited. And in Lena's shoes, I think offsuit aces have the most to lose in terms of inducing or limping. They're very good hands, but you kind of just want to protect your equity. You get called by all the worst aces as well. Like if Pablo's got like ace 5 off, he's just snapping it off, and he's just going to be in trouble. He's going to have like King Jack off or Queen Jack off and Queen Jack suited. That's just going to call. He's going to have a lot of things dominant. Here we go, though. Ole and Lena. Big spot here for both of them. This is a TSN turning point for both players.
Yeah, 2 million chips, 1.926. Queens are in a good situation. There is a couple running scenarios. That is one. There's a turn card
of
a
extra sweat.
Jack. Little extra action. You never know. And it can matter. It can matter. It can matter sometimes. And Lena going to take a big blow there. And there's some WTFs all around. Yeah. Ole with the there it is, a dancing lasso, some kind of female on there. I thought for a minute that might have been his personal cam. I think that is just a GG emoji. He's got the dancing lasso there, and that is a huge pot. Big equity, big money, and Lena now with the work cut out. Nicholas Hosted, who is looking for that 6th title on the Super Millions, which is just insane. If you look at it here, I mean, the other players have, there's 4 players, I believe, with 1. Let's see, no, actually, I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3. Oli Shemian has 2. Kevin Pak has 0. PDC Mayer, who got knocked out, has 0. Pete Chen has 0. And Mark Radoja has 0. And of course, that shows you how powerful that is. These are world-class players with no titles. We got 5 for Nicholas, but you can't say you always run good because it is, you know, put yourself there. That's a tough hand to lose, but.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, with Lena and Ole going at it, with Nicholas and Ole, it's like an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. We're 2 guys that are just very, very tough to beat in all ins. Just go head to head. I mean, someone's got to lose. You can't always chop it up. I mean, Ole ends up slamming that river, just yanks it out of Nicholas's hands there. Those are, I mean, these are 2 of the best players in the world. And, too terrifying. I have this theory where it's like, if players are richer than me, I don't want to get into flips with them because I have this theory that if a player is richer than you, he'll just win the higher equity spots more often. So, you know, whenever I'm in these situations versus like there's times where the few times I played against Chidwick, like I got in an all in with versus him. I was like, I'm just never winning this. I'm just like stoned 0%.
Well,
lose the flip.
This is not 0%, but Ben CB gives the hello and ace 9.
I think this is the worst possible hand to have here versus aces. I think ace 9 off.
Maybe ace 6 off, but as it stands, he does have a gut shot going to the river, or else it is going to be curtains for Nicholas. Can he hit a 10 and a 10 only? No. Benjamin Raleigh got the rollover emojis going. He's got Daniel. He's clapping, and cheers to Nicholas. Not going to get his 6th title, but look at that. Can't be sad for that man right there. He's got 21 million on GGPoker earnings alone. One of the most feared opponents on the internet. Good news for everyone. Left 7 players remain, 83,000 locked up, and a couple of shorter stacks. Feeling really nice about that jump, and Ole is on his way as well. 2 million, and here we go. Ben Raleigh with the 10-7 off. Let's see if he exercises that 3x or so. And again, there is a Pablo Silva. Could even just shove here with the 10 blinds. Right?
Yeah,
there it is.
I'd say the 10-7 off is going to be an all-in. I think if he had something like 10-5 off. Yeah, GG's to Nicholas. I mean, he truly is one of the elite players. I like to joke that he's, you know, he doesn't lose all-ins because obviously he does. But, you know, he's just, you know, one of the best in the world. He wins a lot of tournaments and wins a lot of high equity spots because he always puts himself in these situations by playing elite. Unfortunate to see him to finish it out there in 8th place, but on a star-studded final like this, some sort of name brand person is going to have to bust in 8th. Unfortunately, it was Lena's outcome today. I'm sure he's got a full screen of tournaments and he's just on to the next one. I guarantee you, he probably had at least 10 other tournaments going on. The 10, he's probably playing a 25, like 2 25Ks and a bunch of 10Ks.
Yeah, it is a busy time. Of course, the World Series of Poker going on at GGPoker. So if you are in a jurisdiction that allows that, take a look. There's satellites. There's all kinds of options, and there is a 5K 20 mil guaranteed still with plenty of flights left, Patrick. So you said you have not bagged a stack in that. You are very close. But you
No,
are
I'm 0 for 4. I think I'm gonna probably try a couple sats. I mean, I satellited in twice, I direct bought twice, so it's getting expensive. So I'll probably try one more time direct buying and then satellite in, just because like I don't really want to 0 for 8 it. You know, there's a flight going on today. I'm probably gonna skip today, take the day off. Maybe play some satellites for the Thursday and Saturday one, and then go for it on Sunday. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
Makes sense. Well, I'll tell you what, is Ole Shemian's got a decent hand here for the board too. King 5, 2 spades. He's got 8s, now a 6 on the turn, 5-9 in the middle, and he is just going to go ahead and rip it in. And if you're Pablo, you pick up a little extra equity for, well, I'm sorry, you already had a gut shot on the flop, so you had a over and a gut shot to the 8s. You don't even know what your opponent could have, and you have 350,000. I don't think this is the time, but he is thinking about it. It definitely does beat some hands, right? There are hands he's beating, and a interesting spot he has found himself in.
I like the jam too, because I mean, I think when Pablo check calls the flop, I think he probably is all in with a lot of flush draws, and he's all in with a lot of like king. Like he'll jam a lot of his kings that he defends. So Ole is kind of just recognizing that he's going to have hands that he just wants to deny equity versus he's going to have, pair of 5s, some pair of 2s, even some worse pocket pairs, and flush draws, and he's just kind of targeting that. And the stack to pot ratio is pretty low. It's only about like 0.6 or something. And
I don't know.
He's gonna buy the rest of the pot right now, basically.
I don't know how many pocket pairs he's going to have in his hand that are lower, right? He probably just shoved that what was it, a raise, and he closed the action.
Yeah, it's close. It's interesting. I think now, especially with the stack distribution, I mean, Nicholas doubles up Ole, which makes 2 short stacks into 1 medium-sized stack, and you got Mark sitting in the short stack. Kevin's kind of short, but it went from 5 short stacks to 3. There's a less of an issue. Plus, you lose a player.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Ben is up to 6.6 million, sort of literally double exactly second place, kind of Pete and Mulacher. So this is a precarious position. Pablo in the tank. The longer they say think long, think wrong. He could go ahead and call it off here, but he doesn't. And Ole going to go ahead and be the reciprocant of some more chips up to 2.4. Says thank you. He is on his way. And now Pablo and Radoja critically short. Pablo's going to be through the blinds with about 4 big blinds. So kind of has an orbit to see some hands. Ole Shemian, ace-2 suited, decides that he will not go for it. And I think we get to see Ben Raleigh go ahead with the Jack-10, kick it up here, and does kick it up to 2.2 blinds. And Ben, I think right now you're going to get to see him really get to orchestrate a full-on press, right? There's the Mark, there's Pablo, and some of these other guys not really wanting to get involved, although there is still playability, right? Ole Shemian still has 30 blinds, more blinds for Mulacher. I keep getting that wrong, but thank you for the correction. And Pete Chen have plenty of chips to play with. So let's see if Ben can just go for a full steam here.
Yeah, I think this Jack-8 suited is really close. I think I would fold it. I think it's a close spot where you kind of are in a weird situation where you don't really want to be like, flop comes 8 high. It's still kind of uncomfortable to like check, get it in.
Or Jack high, which we would see.
Yeah, Jack high especially becomes a little bit more problematic. And he does just check fold. It's close. I think you can't really go wrong with it's going to be fringe. So if you make either in those situations, going either or, I don't really think is that big of a difference. Weird one here though, because we just get a little blind versus blind. I imagine Kevin just folds here. 10-6 off. Probably. I don't think we'll be seeing it all in, and I think limping is a bit optimistic because Ole is going to be able to just attack pretty frequently. Yeah, and he does just fold. We just have so few traps in that situation, so it's kind of hard. With Pablo being short and Mark being short, we're just not going to be wanting to play post flop. It's not going to be hands that you're happy to see 3.
For sure. We see ace-4 versus ace-2 suited, and we see Ole with a 3s in the small blind just gets out of the way. Again, sort of that situation where not really looking to be peeling out of position. And as it stands, Ben with the Jack-5 going to be aboard. You see him c-betting. Now he does go quarter pot, and Mulacher is got a little bit of a decision. There's not going to be a lot of great flops where that's sort of a borderline flop, but you just know you're going to get a lot of pressure put on, doesn't want to stick on there. And this is, again, Ben, the first to 7 million. It is in his hands at the moment. Pablo with an ace off of the 3-blind stack. Going to be time to surf it in. 7 left. Big pay jumps coming up. If you make it to 6 or more, you got 6-figure locked up. But ace 3 off, first in. And he is going to get probably just called by the big blind for the stack. 5-9 off for 3 blinds. And if he doubles up, also kind of puts Mark and him even. So let's see. 9-5 suited or 9-5 offsuit decides to fold. Interesting. He can kind of use that to his advantage. Patrick, what do you think about that? Folding him, kind of keeping the stack short, or is it just a hand so bad doesn't want to put it in there?
It's close because I mean 9-5 off, even like chip EV for like 4 bigs is kind of close. So I think Ben kind of benefits by keeping stacks shorter. So he doesn't feel as implied. I think if Ben was like closer to like one of the shorter stacks, if he was like a 25-30 big blind stack, there's a little bit more incentive to try to knock out the shorter stacks because you relieve that pressure of having him in. And also when he doubles up, he's a little bit deeper stack, so it's you're not expecting the immediate pay jump necessarily. I like the fold from Ben there.
All right, well, Pablo Silva does get another all-in hand, this time a little prettier, and Mark Radoja, not the one who wants to do the dirty work, although 440, it's a lot of his chips. This is very curious because if Mark were to fold, they would have about the same stack. I mean, he is also coming into the big blind next hand. I think if you're Mark, you kind of start thinking that you definitely could have the best hand, and you would. This is tricky. This is a tricky one. Let's see if he goes into the tank or if he just decides, you know what, this is my time. But man, this is asking a lot out of Mark to be the guy to go for it here.
I'm kind of curious. I think it might probably just be a fold. I mean, like I said before, when you're the shortest stack, you don't mind, taking the gamble here. As we have King Queen's offsuit, he's ahead. He's dominating.
He is dominating, and he has got
10 of clubs. No,
quite a good spot. If you see 93+% to the river, it is not a jack, and it is an elimination. The Brazilian, vamos, gente, prazer, all my Brazilians out there. We gave you this gentleman as one of the bonuses for the $50 giveaway to be possibly 100. But Pablo, nice score, nice run, just couldn't get it going. I think Pablo kind of, he played back at Ben, got stuffed on. He got boat over voted, stayed in. So, can't really fault him today. Just didn't really get dealt fortuitous situations, and 7th place down to 6.
Yeah, I'll just say it. He just got scammed. It's like he could have came in like 2nd, 3rd in chips, was cruising, could have done really well. Just a lot of things just didn't go to favor. I think the big thing, obviously, when he's full house over full house situations where he'd 3-bet and players flop on 2 pairs. I think Pablo Silva just kind of got dealt out of this tournament. Not much you could do about it. It's always frustrating too when you come into these final tables. I've done it before. You come into these final tables, 2nd, 3rd in chips, and you don't get top 3. It's always very frustrating. Pablo Silva is a veteran though. This isn't his first Super Millions. It won't be his last. We'll see him again. I'm sure this will be frustrating, but somebody that's probably just going to get motivated, and he'll be firing next week as well.
Yeah, he's got over 2.2 million earnings in the season 2 alone, and a title this year, so no stranger to the bright lights. And here we've got a open and a jam. Queen 10 off, Ben Raleigh for another about, it starts getting into close math situations. He has dominated, and he seems to just kind of have his strategy of folding, raise, folding, just kind of picking up chips. At some point, it gets close to the cutoff here, but let's see if Ben wants to go ahead and make the call or just stick to his game plan where he's kind of been folding these sort of close spots. Of course, every situation unique, how many players are left, how many chips it is, what the situation is. If he were to call, he would be doubling potentially Kevin up to be around Mark's stack. He would still have over 6 million. Could be against pairs, ace jack, ace king. You're doing well. This is one of the hands you're not doing so well against, but based on how Ben's been maneuvering, I think he's going to fold, but let's see. He does fold.
Yeah, he does find the fold. I think Queen 10 off is just one of those hands that just doesn't do well as a call. I remember there's been situations, even just like Chippy View, where I've raised called for 10 big blinds versus a jam with Queen 10 off, and I had a friend immediately PM me who was on the table immediately after. He was like, "You're a donkey, horrible call, easy fold." And I'm just like, "Oh, okay."
Expect Thomas to limp here. He does limp. Ben has been checking back a lot. This is one of the ones in this particular situation he definitely could go for, a raise. But look at the respect. He does go ahead and check back, and top set for Muhlacher, and only scary board. It's connected, Jack 10-9, and also hands that Ben checks back definitely have some, some sort of connectivity. But there it is. Jack's full. Nothing to worry about here. Now it's just a matter of what can he do to get chips. So does he want to check, slip a little bit of rope again to Ben, or does he want to start targeting? Maybe Ben has a 10. Maybe Ben has a queen. Maybe Ben has some equity that he's going to just not fold. So he does start with the bet and ace-5 off. Ben, it's a bit – Ben's hand's under wrap, but this board's just really dicey. He does go ahead and peel one. King completes the river. And now let's see, does Thomas get creative? Does he go for a big bet, just try to get paid by some hand, or go for a check raise? Let's see what he can come up with here, although this is going to be hard to get a lot of chips, of course, with Ben's hand.
I'm just a little peeved because this could have been some sort of insane click war where Ben raises pre-flop, Muhlacher 3-bets, and Ben's just got, ace-5 is just always known as the magic hand that you just, the computer likes to attack with. I'm just sad that we saw a snap check from Ben. It's just at least a nice, at least raise a little bit, Muhlacher is the one guy you can apply the most pressure on, and he is lit. Ben probably does have the hands up. He is probably being told the hands on the side. And he's going to see that Muhlacher's still limping hands like Queen 5 suited, things that you're targeting when you attack these limps. I wanted to see blood. I just wanted to see some excitement. After Muhlacher limp 3-bets, I don't really care. I just wanted to see some excitement. I think Kevin with the queen jack off here, going to find the fold. I think the interesting part will be, Muhlacher opening, Ben 3-betting, and what's going to transpire from there. Does Muhlacher find the 4-bet? Oh wow, Ben really isn't finding a lot of these 3-bets in these situations. A lot of players, you could think of a lot of the elite Super Million result players, just always pedal to the metal, always 3-betting, always attacking. Ben coming in here with just the call. It's a hand that you can't fault him for ever clicking call. It's just often you see a lot of players 3-bet. It does help as well. I think button peeling becomes more advantageous when small blind and big blind aren't going to be 3-betting as much as they theoretically could or theoretically should. So we got Pete in the big blinds. Small blinds is going to be all in or fold, pretty easy decisions. But yeah, Ben does make top pair here on the river. Don't think there's going to be a situation where he finds the fold.
Yeah, so the chips are sliding in one direction here. It is 7.5 million for Mr. Ben. Got quite a lead, got 3x essentially the next 3 players, and then Kevin and Mark are tied for the next positions, and we are down to 6 players, guaranteed 6 figures, 106,000. Hope you're enjoying at home. Let me know where you're watching from. We are going to get you a keyword for the giveaway soon. Only so far 143 people have hit the thumbs up. Patrick, have you hit the thumbs up? I got to ask. Sometimes guests forget to do it. If you're enjoying the stream, if you like Patrick, if you like me, if you like GG, if you like anything, if you like the players, if you like the payouts, if you're enjoying it, if you like giveaways, we got a giveaway. 50 guaranteed, going to be 100 if one of the selected players win. Ben is one of those players. Mark Radoja is one of those players, I believe. Pete Chen as well, and
yeah, Pete,
Ole, is that right? So we got 4 or 5 maybe.
I think we had PDC and Nick were the other 2. So we had 5. We had Pete, Ben. I want to say we had Mark. No. It was Pete, Ben, Nick, Pablo, and PDC Mayor. Because we gave Brazil for the Brazilian homies and chat. Oh, wait,
okay.
I'll end a call here.
Aces versus
it's over.
Deuces, and that is going to be that is you're right. Sometimes it's just over on the turn. That was one of those situations, and Kevin not getting much of a sweat there. He is going to go into a good position now. Wow. Aces versus deuces. Blinds are 50-100. It's time to play. And Mark with the 10 blinds, ace-5 suited. feels like you said earlier, ace-5 suited, you know, he gets short, he's going to surf it in. And Kevin has a very playable hand, six-handed. There's a lot at stake here, but it just feels too good, right? I mean, he's shoving lower pairs, he's shoving ace-5 suited. There's going to be flips sometimes. He does see it. We're going to go on the back. We're going to see 5. Ace-5 suited has every bit of that equity there. As you can see, 9s to ace-5 suited. Good start for 9s. Going to need a ton of help if you're Mark, or else you're going to be out in 6th place to the river. Needs an ace or an ace only. And it is not a 9.
No.
Not going to happen for Mark. Good game. Golfer clap for everyone. Respect. Mark Radoja finds himself to another big final table on GG. And yeah, there he goes. 2 million in Super Millions earnings alone, 7.3 on GG, and a couple bracelets to his name as well in real life. So Mark Radoja, the tough Canadian who is residing, I believe, in Mexico now with a flag, is out in 6th place. 5 remain, Patrick. Big pay jumps coming up.
Yeah, this is I mean, this is exciting times because I think you know, you've got Ben and Ole, but I think in terms of like chips, I think we're basically tied. I think all of our guys combined have a pretty, like, my 3 guys are basically the same amount of chips combined as your 3 guys or your 2 guys. You know, this is this is anyone's ball game in terms of dinner. I think we're pretty. All Ben needs to do is just lose one hand. He just needs to double up 1 5 million chip stack or 1 2.5 million stack, and next thing you know, it's anyone's ball game for who's winning this dinner.
It is anyone's game, but currently I'll take Ben versus the field. I mean, he has got 7.5. He's cruising. Those Austrians are tough, right? There's all of a sudden 5 left, and they are 3 in. Those guys know how to play, and they are going to be vying for the title in 357 up top. I got to get you. What's up, Happy Van Winkle? Good to see you guys. A lot of familiar names in the chat. Please say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. And we have got 180 thumbs up, Patrick. We are gonna. You hit the thumbs up and you hit the keyword.
200. Let's get 200 right now. Right now, guys. Before we even say another word, we're going on strike until we get 200 likes. No, there's not going to be a peep from either of us.
2,200 people watching. This is 200 seems like that seems reasonable.
Or we'll keep screaming into the mic, whatever you don't prefer. It's either we're gonna be super quiet, or we're gonna yell over everything. We need 200 likes. Minimum. I see 181. We've gotten 1 like. We at least got 1 person to click it. There's a couple more. They're starting to trickle in. The delays factoring in. I wanted to say though, with the 3 Austrians, I mean, Ole, Thomas Mühlacker, and Ben CB. These are 3 staples, especially of online high stakes. I mean, these 3 guys have been at the pinnacle for way before I even started playing professional poker, let alone even playing poker. These 3 guys have just been at the peak performance, top high stakes poker for a long time, and it is impressive to see these guys continue to keep battling at these highest stakes and keep performing and make results. Patrick Leonard brought up a point. It's kind of hard to, it's easy relatively to get to the top. It's really hard to stay there, and these guys have stood the test of time, kept battling, kept improving, and always just seem to be a step ahead of a lot of their opponents.
Yeah, well said. This is a pretty good spot for Ole. He's got trips on a 6-6 king board. Kevin certainly going to be skeptical now with an ace coming. There's some overs, although he has the hard way, the 6. Not a lot of 6X's going to be there, but this is going to be Ole's time to shine. Let's see what kind of sizing he goes with. Definitely could size up a little. There's draws, right? Maybe look at that. Goes for a KG 359. I like this, right? If his opponent, he doesn't block an ace or a king, and he is definitely capable of having some semi bluffs here. So that is that's going to be interesting. Kevin, does he hold on or not? Although when you see 10s like this, you don't want to believe you're beat, but I think this is a tricky spot.
Yeah, I think it's a tough spot. It's a tough spot to call because Ole is just going to have all of the 6s. Every single iteration of offsuit and a lot of iterations of suited 6s, Ole is going to have. So it's kind of hard to put yourself in a situation where you're going to start calling pocket 10s. Does elect just to fold. It's just not the board texture. There's no river you get to call on either other than the 10.
Yeah, and this is a spot where Ole gets to jam on the open. Pete Chen, who's played very aggressive, very well, is now been a little quiet. He's got the raise fold there. Chen, no stranger to the streets, has got a lot of results.
Oh, this could be a Mullocker v Shemian battle right here. I mean, Shemian's gonna open. I'm pretty sure Mulocker's just gonna be all in. Shemian's gonna call, and I mean they're gonna be off to the races here. I think, you know, maybe Ben CB plays the 7-deuce game and finds the overcall, but I'd have to figure, you know, playing for 357,000, that might not happen. Yeah, I think with Ole making it 2.5 big blinds instead of just a traditional smaller size, yeah, I think Mulocker's just going to be all in. Ole's going to snap, and we're off to the races.
Yeah, I like to give Ace Queen a hard time about not performing, but we're going to have to see likely 5 here if Ace Queen can hold versus Ace Jack. I don't really see another play, as you mentioned, with that sizing. Either way, I think Thomas would be confidently going with it here, but Ole gonna, you know, he probably knows his opponent. This is like one of those spots where he's like, I got a call, not loving it, but he is gonna love to see that. Ace Queen to Ace Jack on the flop, Ace high, so very tough start for Mullocker. He is gonna need a Jack or a Jack only, or we're gonna see a 5th place finish, and it is a 5 of spades on the river. That is it. Curtain call for, well, I speak too soon. It's not over.
He's got
Mullocker
2.5 bigs.
covered. 2.5 bigs, and there's a flash at the payouts. Big money up top. Everyone excited if someone will be knocked out, especially, again, world-class players all around here. But it's not over quite yet for my friend. Mullocker is still got some fight in him. It's not over, but it's a big task.
Yeah, Thomas has still got 2.5 bigs. He's still an elite player. And we've seen crazier things have happened before. This is a big hit to me, though. I mean, Mullocker doubling Ole. Now you have a lot of the chips in the tournament combined. That's not what I wanted to see. I feel like dinner on me might be on the horizon at the moment. It's not, the prospects aren't looking good. Might need to start talking buyout. Maybe just 3 drinks and an appy. You know, maybe I buy out now. But Ben, he had no action there with the queens.
Yeah,
Ole's a terrifying man to play all ins with. Just terrifying.
Yeah, this is intense. Ben with a very dominating spot here, but of course a lot of poker left and people are not afraid. So let's see what he's gonna come up with as it stands. We got the King Jack, Ace 7, Queen 10, a couple playable hands here. Gotta believe.
I think Mullocker will find the all in. It's a question what Ben does. If he like clicks it, makes it like, you know, Mullocker jams for 2.4 big blinds, and then does Ben click it to 4 big blinds? Does Ben just click call? I don't think Ben's gonna jam, but he could. I don't think it'd be insane for him to jam, but I don't think he will. I think he's either gonna click call or click the min raise. And he does just click call. And I also think it's a weird spot for Kevin too. You do benefit from going multi-way and increasing the likelihood that Mullocker gets stacked, but it's also a spot where, like, I don't really think you benefit. It's not an ideal spot to peel. Does find the fold. Good flop from Mullocker. Yeah. Ben down to just 3 outs, needs an ace on the river, needs the Barry Greenstein. Nope. And Mullocker, I mean, just 7 big blinds, one more double up, and it truly is back in the game. One of the things to note for points at this point of the tournament, when we're down to 5-handed, since hands play faster, since there's less players, oh my god, forget about what I was going to say. We got kings versus queens here. Mullocker looking to get his money back here. Wow. It's and he's getting the money back from the guy that stole it from him. Mullocker is going to have 1.5, 1.6 million 80% of the time here. He does cover one of the suits. Fun times as we see 5 here.
Wow.
Do the ladies love Ole?
Oh, we got action.
The ladies love Ole.
We got action. Ole is in a world of hurt into a world of feeling good, and it is looking clean on the river for him. I believe that is not a jack or a king, and he says good game. So that's always tough to be on the cooler and then be on the right side that turns wrong. And look at that. That is a happy 4 players remaining as this man goes out. look at the results. Look at the resume. Look at the class. He's got the headphones on in the picture. He's got the headphones on. He was blocking the noise out, had all his alerts off at the final table. And that is a focused man with another.
I think I have the same headphones.
Those are nice. And, you know, my man can get it done. And that is down to 4. 5th place, 135,000, all guaranteed 172,000. All 4 remaining have played quite a brand, but Ole's got a little bit of heat going on him after being short. He lost aces to deuces and just turned it around in a jiff. We're going to kind of queue up the giveaway here. Oh, Patrick, you asked for 200 thumbs up. We got the best community on YouTube. 296. Don't blink. That's a big respect from you guys. Thank you guys for hitting that thumbs up. We do appreciate it very much. And we are on our way, and we are going to give a giveaway. So it's either 50 or 100. There's some remaining players for 100. Let's make a keyword. Let's get this out of the way because I want to get back to the poker. We want to make sure that we do. What do you think for a keyword today, Patrick? What are you feeling for a keyword?
I think let's go Ole. Let's go Ole with the last few hands. I mean, Ole's scooped a couple big pots. All right, we're gonna go the double entente with Ole.
All right, we're gonna make the keyword WSOP Ole because it's a WSOP on GG, and
that's a good point. I missed that one. That's on me. That's on me.
That was a tee up. We didn't pre-rehearse that, but yes, that would have been that was where you just nailed the WSOP is live on GG. But is the keyword WSOP is going on, and the keyword is WSOP OLE. So a little hybrid there, WSOP and Ole. If you put that in the chat, if you hit the thumbs up, you're eligible for a $50 giveaway. It might be 100, depends on who wins, but it's going to be 50 GG bucks no matter what. So go ahead, get it in there, and yeah.
We got Pete here betting the half pot here with his queen high up against a better queen high. I think it's a situation we'll probably see turn check, and I don't see a lot of rivers where Pete turns his queen into a bluff, and I don't see a lot of rivers where Kevin turns his queen into a bluff or value bets. So this is probably just going to be a check river. Kevin's going to windmill over the winning hand. And things are looking pretty grim for me here. I've got Kevin and I've got Pete. You've got 12.7 million in chips, 12.8 million in chips, and I've got 4 million in terms of horses. This is looking grim. I need Kevin to start spinning. I need Pete. Pete doubles through Ole. Kevin doubles through Ben. We're off. Actually, you know what? The thing is too is like Kevin doubles up through Ben. He's chip lead. That's worth noting. Kevin doubles up through Ben. He's chip lead. If he doubles up even through he does up through LA. He's not gonna be chip lead, but.
Well, Ben has got 7.5 right now. I mean, he's definitely chilling. He feels good, but there is a lot at stake here, and this is nice. Things are working right now. He's got the ace in the big blind. He's got the walk, and he is four-handed. He is in fuego right now, but it's not over. As you said, Ole Shemian got the A7 suited, and he is going to go ahead and raise it up. Jack 4 suited for Pete Chen.
Just had to quickly remember to type WSOP Ole. I got in there. I'm in the giveaway. I would love for the caster to win. I don't know if we're allowed to win, but you know what?
We'd double it up. I'd be running it back. I think we'd have to double down on that.
Please don't rig it. But if I win, I'll give. I'll double it myself. So if I win, if it's 100, I'll give 100 as well. It needs to be legitimate. Don't you dare, GG. I can't. You guys pay me well, but I don't know if. Paying out an extra 100 just for the sake of it. Don't do it to me, guys, please. I'm gonna have to eat some rice and beans for dinner if they have me win.
I'm gonna put it in as well. I'm gonna put it in the chat. But yeah, we will run it back if one of us two wins. I am going to go ahead and put it in there as well. Good luck. We're gonna cut that off in a minute. You guys got a chance to hit the thumbs up, hit that WSOP OLE, and again. 5K 20 mil on GG is going. It's happening. It's still up. I think the last flights are Sunday. Is that right? Or even Monday? I think the final is on Tuesday.
Well, we've got the last flight is Sunday. We've got one on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So 4 more flights, I believe, going on. Plenty of time for you guys to win your tickets, win your satellites in if you don't want to $5,000 a bit pricey. It's pricey for almost every single person in the world. But, you know, maybe if you want to saddle it in for $20, $100, $500, so it's there's the opportunity to get in for cheap. You don't have to direct buy. There are plenty of satellites going on GGPoker. Big series. Still got a week left. There's other tournaments to play as well. Maybe you win the $210 bounty hunter for 20K and then you parlay it in. We got a fun one here. Ben double barreling for value here with second pair. And also denying equity. He's attacking flush draws. He's pricing out flush draws while still getting value from worse 5x. I don't know if Kevin's strongest 10x is always check raising. Maybe check raises some 10x with king 10 or ace 10. Fun one here. As Ben does not improve on the river, you have to think this goes check check. And this is a big momentum pot for Kevin. Gets him to about 4 million. I don't think Kevin finds a lead here. No. And I don't think Ben triples ace 5. Yeah. You know, Ben does put in a substantial amount of money on the turn with the worst hand, but I don't think it's a misstep. I think Ben played the hand pretty well, and unfortunate.
Yeah, that's a tough spot, but you know, as I said, he's maneuvering, he's in the mix, so he is up to 6.6, not quite at his peak, but he still has a nice healthy lead. And Pete Chen doing a good job, just kind of staying afloat down to 4, and he has got plenty of chips. He's got a big shot. Everyone has a good shot here, so a lot of poker left, 4-handed. It's never easy, right, Patrick? It just doesn't matter. You can be chip lead, 5-handed, 6-handed, 9-handed, 3-handed. Like, to actually get the win, people are going for it. There's equities. You can get it in ahead, behind, flipping. There's a lot. That's why poker's so fun. It's just like every final table, it's like unique. It's new. Ollie's really rocking the emojis today. He's at the full ring of emotions.
And that's probably one of my favorite features that GG added to the client is using GIFs in the chat. I'm somebody that frequently uses GIFs when I'm talking on Discord or Skype or any sort of texting situation. So I'm very happy that GG added it. It's part of my repertoire. I'm able to spam some fun stuff. Lately, I've been on a Kevin Martin GIF spree. You know, his times on the Big Brother has led to a lot of GIFs that are in the client. If you guys haven't already, type Kevin Martin in the GIF search feature. And yeah, there's a lot of good ones. You got Kevin twerking. That one's one of my favorite ones. You got Kevin praying. You got Kevin jumping up in excitement. You got the whole range of things. You got Kevin disappointed. Kevin hugging a pillow as it zooms in on. There's so many good Kevin moments. I love the jam here by Pete as well. Not being fearless. Attacking Ben's chip lead, you know, pressure. Bang.
Yeah, this is getting intense down the stretch here. There are 4 remaining.
This is interesting too, because if Pete doesn't jam, if Pete makes it like 3 bigs, Kevin could make it 6, or Kevin could jam. He can still call, but I think Kevin might find a 3-bet here. I mean, does find the call. It wouldn't have been the craziest thing in the world to see a 3-bet not all in. I've seen and done crazier. That's why I say. Looks like it's going to be pretty simple though. Pete bets big. Kevin's got king high with no backdoors. Only a backdoor straight, but not a very good one. And the running hot emoji is declared as Pete chips up. You know, Ben has a comfortable lead, as a decent lead, but it's not like it's all she wrote lead. If he doubles up one player, one even minor misstep, and it could cost Ben the win here.
Yeah, this is like I said, this is not a lock. There's guys with plenty of chips. This isn't a spot where kind of how the chips evened out. Ben could have easily run away with it. Everyone got short, but sort of how the double ups happened, how Ben's distribution of cards, where it's sort of just been him maintaining a nice stack, not getting to completely be a runaway train. And you know, four-handed, very capable players, and we got a lot of play left. Hope you guys are enjoying. That's the giveaways. No, that you don't need to say WSOP Ole. Let's see what you're in. You've done it. If you've done it, you're in. And we are up to a whopping, how many do we have here? 373. That's strong, guys. Thank you so much for hitting that thumbs up. Again, if you hit the thumbs up, you type WSOP, you're eligible. When we get down to heads up, I will announce the winner. I'm about to draw it, and then I will give you guys a look at the winner, and we will make it either $50 or $100. It is, if you want, if Ben wins, it's 100. If Ole wins, it's 100. Correct? That's
Pete. It's
Pete.
Ben and Pete
are the rooting interest. Okay. Some reason I thought I threw Ole in there. I guess we did a lot. We had your stuff. We had other stuff. We had a dinner event. We got stuff going on. We got action as usual here on the Super Millions GG. This is season 2, episode 59. I'm Jeff Gross, your host, along with Patrick Tardif, Egyptian. He streams on Twitch, does content on YouTube. He does a lot of things. Give him a follow, check him out. And he also plays the majority on GG, as he is an ambassador for GG as well. So we're on the same team again, Patrick. Feels good.
Yeah.
Feels good.
Yeah.
It's the right place. It's the right time. It's just all right. It's good.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, there's no better place to play right now. No better place to be than on GGPoker. I like to flex that I was GG's first ambassador back in 2017. I was the first guy to stream. Well, I wasn't their first pro, but I was the first guy to really stream GG way back when in early 2017. And then some of the Twitch streamers started getting ambassadorships with some of the other networks, but still part of GG. No, I've been a believer in GG and their potential since the get-go. And you know, we took a hiatus from GG, came back. They've done a lot of things right, and there's a reason why they became the world #1. Features like, you know, the chess clock, hands going up, you know, a lot of they're not afraid to take chances as well. There's a lot of great, exciting features, a lot of things that GG's done great, and yeah, I mean, world #1 for a reason.
Well said. Well, King 9 suited this time for Pete Chen. Not going to be the same as last time. He got to peel the King 9 suited. That was a massive hand for him, out flopping the Ace Jack suited, and he is still in right now with 2.5 million chips, a bit more, and he has got some fives. Let's see if Ben goes for that raise again on the river, and he is going to let's see, it does limps. Okay.
Yeah, I was interested to see what Pete would do, because it's kind of awkward when Ben limps. Some of the hands, I don't know. I think it's probably not a bad spot to attack Ben's limps, because a lot of Ben's value hands are just going to be raising, because Ben's going to be raising a lot. So it's up to Pete to sort of determine what he thinks Ben's strategy is going to be. And, you know, fives just benefit from taking the pot down right there. You're flipping for some stuff that limps, like ace king, ace queen. I mean, you're going to be dead versus some of it too, but.
All right, well, Ben going to go ahead, and here we go. Puts on some force here as all these three sort of middling second place-ish stacks. He is going to put pressure with the taxi cab. You know, in Houston, if you know what I'm talking about, King 10 off, going to kick it on up. And this is not going to work, as Ole decides that's just enough hand to rip it in. And a pretty big swing there, right? Puts Ole up to 5 million, Ben's at 6. And that is a critical moment in the tournament, as Ben now does. Oh, whoa. Wait a second.
You have to think he's going to probably lose a few more chips here too, because I don't think he's going to fold. Oh, I mean, Pete jams, he's going to fold, I think. So if Pete goes not all in, if Pete makes it like, yeah, something like this, what is that in math? 240, 480. So he goes 6.5 big blinds. This is kind of like the awkward spot where if Pete went like 5.5, maybe he calls. I think 6.5 might be. Maybe Ben. It's a tricky spot because you can't really call anymore. Yeah, he just select a jam. Oh my goodness!
Wow, it is versus that risk. Ben. Queens versus Ace Jack suited. King 10 9 queens healthily in the lead to the turn. It's safe for the river. Can Pete fade the? He can do it. That's what the answer is before it's even out. Like a Band-Aid, huge hand for Pete, who now is the chip leader. And just like that, Ben CB finds himself in 4th place. So a couple of tough hands there for Ben, but he has still got 3.2 million, and he is going to still be in fine shape, but a big swing there.
He's gone from 1st out of 4 to 4th out of 4. And it's like I said before, I mean, no one was really out of it. Like one crucial double up in somebody's chip lead. The swings, he was a relatively comfy chip lead, but there's still pain to happen if you double someone up. And I mean, we're gonna see Pete here probably gonna bet. You know, I think in general he's been betting a third in these situations. Probably bets 200K. Yeah. Ben's gonna check full. I mean, he has backdoors. He has backdoor straight, backdoor flushes. I don't know if Pete's gonna be the guy I float here though. Pete might be the guy to get aggressive with. Pete does have a pretty good hand to continue.
Wow.
Does block some 10-9 combos. Ben looking to turn the gears on. That's I think this might be a turn that Ben shuts down. Maybe he just one and dones it. Probably continues on a spade, continue on a 9, continue on a jack, queen, king. But oh my goodness,
Wow.
this is gonna get spicy because I don't think Pete's gonna fold turn, and depending on what the river is, if the river is a spade, I think Ben sends it, gives it all. I don't know what other rivers he probably gives it on. This is a tough spot for Pete. Pete snaps. Oh my goodness, this is an interesting one. Wow, I don't think Ben's gonna slow down. I don't think you make it this far to then give up on a spade river, especially with the king of spades. It's just a question of how long does Ben take before he goes all in. I would figure. I mean, you have one of the better hands to probably do it with if you're going to triple this off. You block a lot of the strong. He uses the goodbye emoji. Oh, that's a weird one to use. It's kind of interesting because I feel like Ben's been pretty honest with his emoji usage, reflecting.
Wow, this is so savage. Like, you're right. I mean, this is just the hand. Like, he goes for it. 9 sticks on the turn. He gets check raised on the flop, calls turn, and then on a river, we get to see how many times do you just see like the river where like you can't shove, right? But this is one where you said it's a 6 of spades, and the guy's got a plan. He's not just,
and he gets it through.
Yeah, he just. I mean, bravo. That is, again, I think the hand of the day. Back to 5 million. Can't hold a good man down long. Ben CB, ladies and gentlemen, put that in the pot and just note that hand. That is my candidate, I think, for play of the day. And Pete Chen, look how even it is now. We find ourselves here, Patrick, four-handed, everything sort of up for grabs, and even Kevin, the shortest stack, picking up. So everyone's kind of in the same sort of vicinity between 3.8 and 5 million. That's pretty wild distribution.
Yeah, right, I think a lot of people too. I might be opting to be more passive after losing a big pot. But Ben was able to recognize the situation. I think check calling there is probably not going to be the play. So I think I'm going to take a step back here because it's going to be a situation where Ole Shemian 4-bet jams and then Pete calls. I think Ole's probably going to fold, but I don't think it's insane to see him just launch it in versus Pete. Might not be the least likely thing. So before I say what I was going to say, let's give a moment here to Ole. Pete with the larger size 3-bet does get it through. With Ben pulling the trigger there on that bluff, it's a tough thing to do, especially after you lose a big pot. But I mean, these guys are elite for a reason. They're not to the naked eye, to the average viewer, you're going to go, oh, wow, he's punting, jamming with king high. But like, you need to realize, like, you can't always just have value hands. You need to have bluffs. And these situations work for a reason because it's very hard to have bluffs. It's very hard. You need to take these sort of situations. It's very, like, when you have value hands, it's very hard to get called. So bluffs just end up working out. Sometimes you got to bluff, guys. You can't always just have it. Ben not afraid, pulls the trigger. And he's back in it. I mean, just like that, he's chip lead again.
It's crazy.
It's a tiny. He's gone from 1 to 4 to 4 to 4 to earning that 1 of 4 again. He's tied for chip lead, basically, but he's still. It's getting exciting. Things are all really evened out. This, given how 4-handed started, where Ben just had the monster lead, Ole was very comfortably second, Pete and Kevin were pretty short, and now things are kicking off. Now things are cooking. As Ben turns trips here, weird spot for the king high. I think it's kind of weird, but like if I saw a bigger size, I would call, and if I see this size, I'd probably fold. Because I feel like the bigger sizes are going to be more weighted towards like flush draws and straight draws that are trying to make things fold, as well as I would think a 3 would go bigger. But I think a smaller size is going to be more things that are just going to bet turn and then check back river. Ben does get the fold. Another interesting spot here with Kevin with the ace-3 and Pete with the ace-jack. Oh no, Kevin just fold. That's a close spot where You know, all the stacks are pretty close. Ace three off isn't that attractive. And one of the things where like a lot of people, when they look at pre-flop ranges, they'll look at it for being like 8-handed or 9-handed. Ace three, 4-handed. There's less antes. You're playing for less, and then you have ICM as well. Does find the fold.
Yeah, this is a critical time of the match. Of course, forehand. You can see 172. It's basically double to first place. And again, it's so tight now. Things have really sort of congested. Let's see who can get it done. We got a guaranteed 50. Going to give a $100 giveaway or 50 here, closing in on that. Thank you, everyone who hit the thumbs up button. And we are still rolling here with 4 left. A7 off on the button. Going to open up, take it down.
Now we're 4 hands away from the blind levels going up as well to 140,000. I think when I looked at the structure briefly, I think it went 140, 160, 200. So I'd figure in the next 25 hands, it's going to be the last chance of like, so at least for forehand, it's some deeper stack playability. Things are going to get 30 big blinds or less soon, and could be seeing some excitement.
Yeah, I think here with sixes. So interesting spot whether to 3-bet or flat, four-handed versus sixes to call. So we now go 3-way instead of maybe a heads up or take it down against the Jack 9. Actually, as it turns out, he would have taken it down, right? Jack 9 off, not going to peel. King Jack would get out of the way.
Yeah.
But now he's 3-handed. Not a great turn card there for him. And this is a spot where he probably doesn't expect to be good now for sure. Expects not to be good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think. Well, it's interesting to note too that Kevin opened the Jack 9 off with folded the Ace 3 off. I think it's the opposite of what a lot of players would have done in this situation. I think Jack 9 off will just be a little bit more live, I guess, is what he's going for. It's a little bit, whereas like Ace 4 off, just, yeah, I don't know. I probably would have inverted it if I would have opened. Interesting situation. I don't know if Kevin's going to make a stab at this. I think he bets a lot of his aces on flop, and he doesn't probably value bet too many kings on the turn or river. So he's kind of in a weird spot where he just checks and probably just loses. But like, you don't really want to just check and lose when you know you're never winning.
Right. Then the sizing. It comes down to sizing. What do you go here? Can you get a king to fold? Probably don't get an ace to fold with the ace deuce 3, king 7, and Pete Chen now, whose hand a bit under rep, has a decent hand in the big blind. Going to be hard to think he has the best hand though.
Yeah, I think. And he does find the fold. Yeah, it's interesting because Kevin does bet and take it down, but I would expect a lot of his strongest hands would have just bet a prior street. So it's kind of hard to rep too much. Ben's kind of handcuffed. He's multi-way. He's not last act. Sixes can't really do too much. They're kind of in the bin. But Pete with a king there, especially a strong king. I mean, Kevin could be value betting worse kings. Maybe not always, but he could still probably have like king 10. Interesting one. Could also be interesting here with the ace 10. He's 4xing blind versus blind into Ole. I feel like all options are viable here for Ole. He could 3-bet small. He could call. He does call. It could fold as well. I feel like folding's not in his repertoire. That was either a small 3-bet or call. I mean, it's an action spot for Kevin with top and all the straight draw and flush draw possibilities. For Ole, this is a pretty garbage flop.
Well, he's got ace 10.
Oh wait, no, he doesn't have. For some reason, I thought he had ace jack.
That
I knew he had
sense.
ace 10 pre-flop, and then I just visualized him having ace jack of hearts. And now it makes sense why he I was thinking, I guess he's going for the check raise. Yeah, exciting times out. The blinds have gone up to 70,000, 140,000. All 4 players have locked up 172,000. Still playing for the biggest amount of money. The biggest prize jumps from here are between first to fourth as compared to the rest of the final table. Kevin putting on the gears. This is a situation where, since everyone's so close together, a lot of people aren't able to fight back as often. And these are the sort of situations now where Ole's got queen 10 suited. He does elect to slam it in.
That's
Good
a big boy
timing.
play. That's a
Yeah.
big money player right there.
Yeah.
That is an absolute savage shove.
Nobody's gonna have a tough time finding that all in, early stage tournament before left in the tournament. It always seems fine until you get called, and then it's like, oh wow, somebody's going, oh, big pun. Why would you jam queen 10? Massive pun. And it's always a sweat. I'm curious if Pete. Yeah, Pete does find the fold. I think Pete in general has been on the tighter end on this final table. Not that it's been. I think it's been his strategy. Ben's been chip lead. He's been attacking. Ole's just always going to be fearless. Always going to be battling. Kevin playing strong as well. These boys are swinging. This is what we wanted. I mean, anyone's ball game. No runaway chip lead. Anyone could truly win this one. This is exciting.
Yeah, this is wide open. This is so crazy how jammed it is in terms of EV and how it kind of shook out. It did look like we'd have a run over, and obviously all these guys capable to play that big stack role. If they do separate enough, they can really start to ship it. It is still though wide open. And here on a turn, we see Kevin go ahead and start betting his gut shot. Paired board, queen 8 suited, pairs the 8. So Ole certainly can't be folding for this price. He gives sometimes you see players even raising in this spot, right, to sort of tax draws or get control of the hand. So let's see if Ole goes for a raise or just a call. Has to believe his hand is good a lot of the time here. Saw him just take a very aggressive look at that. I like it. I like setting the tone there, right? You get to kind of find out where you're at, and you also tax some hands that have some equity. This is a nice raise from Ole, and I do like this. Sort of reminds me of that spot earlier talking about, right, with the sizing, depending on the sizing and what you do. And again, not every player is going to raise there, but I think it's a great play, and as we see, effective, and he does get control of the hand and take it down.
Yeah, it's a hand too where there's a lot of rivers where he's not going to value bet an 8, but there's a lot of situations where he can get value from worse 8s, he can get value from the draws. 9-6 doesn't end up calling, but if Kevin had like Jack 9 or like 9-7, something with a little bit more opportunity to river good hands.
Nice play from Kevin there. Can go ahead and rip it in.
Kevin chipping up truly is shaping up to be anyone's ball game. I'm curious if Ole, I was gonna say, if he's gonna just elect to shove for the 30 big blinds, 32 big blinds, or if he would make it like 3 big blinds or 4 big blinds. Just slams it, takes it down. Big gears being made here by Ole. And it's starting to seem like Ole might be poised to pull away from it. Ben takes a stand, peels with the king 10 off. Don't think jamming's the play here, so it's either call or fold. And Pete with the big blind defense here with Jack 6 suited. I mean, all 3 players made a pair. Pete's got the backdoor flush draw to go with it, and now things get even more interesting because Ben's got. You have to figure Ole is going to see a bet. He's going to continuation bet a lot of his top pairs.
Yeah.
So Ben's probably feeling pretty comfortable with his king. I mean, Ole could have like king, queen, king, jack that bets turn, but I think in general he's probably Ben's probably going to expect to have the best hand. I think once Pete sees the bet here, he probably gets out of the way as well. I think it's going to go Ole bet, Ben call, and then we're waiting for an action river probably. It'll be exciting to see what price Ole decides to give Ben and if Ben finds the call.
Yeah, 1.3 million in the middle. This is again where I think the best players in the world, it's tough when they both know each other so well. There's so much history here, and then also understand how to go for sizings and what they're representing. But the trip aces does go for a big sizing here, and he does have a spade, right? This could be worried. There are some hands that beat him, a better ace, possible flushes, but just seems to understand what he's targeting, right? There's going to be a lot of king X's here, king queens, king jacks. I think king queen can have a hard time folding, and again, players capable, though, of turning hands into bluffs, but this juncture of the tournament, you don't see that quite as much. I like the size in here from Ole.
Yeah, it's a tough spot for men. I think it's you pick the size that makes this exact hand indifferent. I think if Ole bets like a third, a lot of king X's don't have a problem calling, or like king jack, king queen, king 10. this is the type of spot now where these sort of hands become indifferent. Like when Ole bets the river, he's not trying to make an ace fold. He's trying to make a king fold. He's trying to make pocket pairs fold if he had a bluff. So I'm curious to see if Ben finds the arrow, and he does. And Ole is now a comfortable chip lead. As you see, Ben CB taking a big hit there, down to just over 20 big blinds. But is unfazed, opens the pocket sevens. Kevin with an interesting one too. Kind of close as a pre-flop defend. Suited though, so suited hands are always cool. I do like that in these situations where Kevin, and he does fold. He has these middling spots and he does take his time. Just think about it a little bit. You appreciate Kevin taking his time with these closer situations. I think it's a sign of a seasoned veteran, not snap acting with some of these closer spots. I wonder if we're going to be seeing the 7 deuce game be live here. If Kevin ends up limping. I feel like Ole will probably make it like 4 big blinds. I mean, Kevin's not going to fold, but he does raise, makes it 3 big blinds. It's kind of close. I mean, you probably could limp jam here with king queen. There's going to be a lot of boards where you'll end up just getting attacked. Yeah, and you don't mind just running the equity if he ends up calling. You take chip lead if he calls and you win. Ole is going to have so many, like if he's raising 7 deuce off, he's going to be raising a lot of hands. So makes the jam, takes it down. Big one there.
Yeah, it's starting to be. I mean, this is getting that critical time. So now we kind of see a little flip in rolls. Ben is now in the middle, sort of actually technically shortest, although he's basically tied for second. And now Ben going with the queen 4 off, going to raise it up. And Ole for that sizing in his particular hand, probably going to peel, I imagine, not many other plays. So there we go. We go to a flop. Jack 10 versus queen 4. Queen pairs. Jack 10 has a gut shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be enough for Ole to at least continue one street. He might not think that his jacks and 10s are necessarily dead. And he still has the gut shot to the nuts. It's also worth noting, too, that Ole probably doesn't have very many aces in this situation. So I think Ben could still bet turn for value. It's close. Oh, my goodness.
That is not ideal because, of course, the king on the river comes in. And so this is a super curious spot. Spades miss. There is a check on the turn. Queen 4 certainly could be good. The interesting thing was a limp call pre-flop. So Ben has more sort of stronger hands here, right? Like as it played, like he can have the bigger hands, and now he's got a decision. Because what does Ole have that he limp calls, a check call flop, and then check turn, and on the river gives a very affordable pricing with the absolute stone cold nuts. So this is a tough spot for Ben. Don't expect him to make a snap call here, right? This is one of those spots where he's either way good or way not. And I think I wouldn't blame him for calling here, but it's tough, man. It's really tough.
Yeah, I think it boils down to, I don't think Ole's ever going to have an ace here. I think a lot of Ole's kings jam pre-flop. And I don't think he picks the size with a lot of 2 pairs. I think he picks greedier. So it's kind of like a really weird spot where I would feel kind of comfortable with a queen. I would expect better queens on Ole's shoes to maybe potentially value bet. But even then, it's like Ben still has a strong range where he has a lot of kings as well. So it's kind of weird. Like it seems weird to pick this size as a bluff when Ben has so many hands that can call. Ben probably doesn't have too many aces, but he'll still have some strong queens. He'll have rivered kings. Ben probably doesn't have Jack 10. Yeah, it's a weird spot. It's a weird spot because Ben needs to figure out what he thinks he's going to target when he
not having a spade definitely works against Ben too, right? On the hands that he does make the call, and you can't fault him. Ole goes for a very, very ungreedy sizing on the river, but puts him up to 8 million. And now, I mean, this is the first time we're seeing some definite real separation here, and it is Ole Shemian who has got the control of this match at the moment. Ben is in a precarious 2 million position.
Yeah. See, Ole, I mean, if he had opened there, Ben might have jammed and Ole might have taken that down. But when Ole jams there, Ben's just kind of in the cage. Yeah, I think queen nine off probably just going to be a fold. This might just get folded too. I mean, Ben does take the open. Probably takes this one down. Things are going crazy right now.
Yeah.
Ben has been on the wrong side of quite a few pots now, and you know he did make the play to take the chip lead back for a brief moment versus Pete. But Ole's on a different level right now in this FT. He's cruising. He's making good hands. The only kryptonite for Ole so far has been Kevin. Ole's been Kevin's ATM this final table.
Yeah,
doubled up through him a couple times.
Yeah, that's true.
I think if this ends up being a Kevin versus Ole fight, I think Kevin's got what it takes to beat Ole. We've seen it in the past with winning some all-ins versus him. But yeah, I think Ole is probably. This is close, but I think you probably do still attack here with the 4 deuce, and he does. Ole cruising. This is a lot of momentum in Ole's favor. I figure it's going to be another all-in and call. Blind's going up pretty soon as well. 7 hands, and when you're playing 4-handed and one of the players is all in quite a few or most of the hands. Here's what Ole does here with queen 2 suited. If I'd figure he just opens into 3 players. It's a bit different jamming button. Oh, he doesn't just take the jam. Yeah, it looks like he'll probably just be jamming a lot of the suited broadways. Oh, there's you know, I was talking about it before too. The just one time is often the one they both show a deuce. You love to see it. Both players, you know, having a little bit of fun. They're playing for hundreds of thousands, but still showing some emotion, still having fun out there. But I mean, I said earlier in the stream, usually the just one time is the emoji people use before they call, not the goodbye emoji.
Yeah, this is pretty looking hands here on the small blind, big blind, and actually Kevin just decides to go for all of it. Could have limped in, could have done various different things. And Ole probably a little frustrated, would like to see a raise and a call, but that's exact reason why shoving there, you get a hand such as queen 8 suited, which would have been very live to give you a hard time there, and a very precarious position. If you're in second right now, sometimes in order to live, you got to be willing to die, right? Amir Vahidi referenced that, and very powerful play there. Here we go, Ben Raleigh with the queen 7, known as computer hand. That is what it's called if you're heads up. That is the dead middling hand, hoping to make it to heads up now with the shorter stack of the 4 remaining at once. Chip leader, of course, couple hands, couple missteps, and then whatnot. Look at this.
I was about to say, I didn't want to interrupt her. I was like, if Ben's tanking, I think he's going to 3-bet not all in here. And this is one of those things that you're going to see a lot more frequently in high stakes nowadays is, you know, people realize that Ole is going to be 3-betting or going to be raising very wide. And these 3-bets then become profitable. You are sort of able to get away where you start to attack these like chip lead opens. And you're not going to want to jam your aces and kings anyways when you know they're going to be fairly weak. Ole unfazed, doesn't get insane, doesn't 4-bet jam the 9-3 suited. Just continues to, you know, keep raising, taking. He's already made his chips back just from that one pot there. So, yeah, nice heads up play there by Ben, taking a stand. Just like the king 10 suited jam, that's kind of the type of stuff you need to be doing to survive. You can't just wait for good hands. You can't just wait for good spots. Sometimes you got to make some spots.
Yeah, well, Ole's up to 9 million. He's done just that, and they are going to be here. Hello. A little bit of a.
If Pete finds the open jam here, oh wow, Pete just folds. Big fold for him because he avoid. I mean, I don't think he would have raised called, and I think it's understandable in his shoes to fold because he doesn't want to be raising into the chip lead who's going to be attacking frequently. You have too many big blinds to open jam. I think it's still probably a raise, but it's going to be fringy and it can go either way.
Wow. That's a crazy fold though. I guess the other option is, it's sort of very interesting. Very interesting. Love to Love to take a look at that one later. I got to say 446 people have hit the thumbs up. 2580 are on here right now. You're getting a 50 or 100. I'm tempted to do, it feels close to a record, guys. If we get up to 600 by the time it's heads up, you know what? I might just make it 100. Kind of feeling generous, Patrick. They've been pretty strong today. This chat has been
chat's been active. Chat's been exciting. A lot of Ben CB slander now in the chat. Ben is a businessman. I mean, really, he is. If you think about it, he is probably one of the most successful businessmen in poker. Razor Edge, one of the biggest training programs out there. You know, I was a student of it, and when it first came out, I'll say I was, the first Twitch streamer for GG. I was also the first affiliate that was contacted for Razor Edge. I've been with Razor Edge since day one. That's another thing.
I don't know if I want to fact check you on there. I've been there since early on too. There's a chance you might have to go check that out.
I hand to God, I was the first one that got it. I was the first one that put it on their Twitch stream. I swear. I've been there for I can get the emails. I think Julian or Julius? I forget who emailed me.
All right, we might have to get the fact checks out. But Patrick's claiming a lot of firsts today, and I believe him. I believe him because he's my guy. I trust this guy.
I still have the very first ad that they used, the first banner that they used in my Twitch. Okay. In the bottom, I have the very first one they ever used because it never changed it, and it got to the point where I thought it was funny just to leave it. It's like before they had the any Razor Edge logo, before they had any of it, it's just like it looks ugly, but it's a very simple thing. Ole all in here with the 10-8. I mean, 20 effective. This is the type of stuff now where, no one really wants to bust before anyone else, and it turns into a situation where they're really only going to get called by top 7%, top 8% of hands. You get a lot of folds.
This is a shove. There it is. There's a shove. He is first in, and Kevin with a decision now as he's looking at hands that, not a lot. He didn't think long, think wrong. We are flipping. Pete Chen is saying OMG, and that is right because this is a big spot.
This is a big one for Pete.
Everyone, for everybody. Pete in particular looking on when he's not in a chance, and there is a
action flop.
Sweaty flop. That is
big turn.
That is a tough. Needs a river here to hit, and it is not gonna be a Ben CB first to fourth. But again, some people in the chat, you can try to hate, you can congratulate, whatever you want. 172,000 going his way. That's the man, the myth, the legend. Interesting enough, we just saw the coin rivet Triton 200,000. Could he go in as a businessman, Patrick? Now with such a successful, coaching.
What's his name? If Yo Viral could be businessman, I don't see why Ben couldn't. When I saw Yo Viral on the business, I was like, come on. What do you mean? He runs a poker coaching site. How does he get the credentials to run I thought that was an interesting one. I mean, they voted. Apparently, 2 out of 3 voted. I don't know. I thought that was an interesting one. Whenever I looked at some of them, it's like some of the businessmen are like some really elite pros. It was fun to watch. It was that whole tournament was an exciting one. I think Chapier, I'm blanking on the Frenchman that made the final table and then proceeded to win the short deck after. That guy was an absolute delight to watch.
I got to talk with him, did an interview with him live there. And the crazy story is he hadn't played short deck until the previous day. And he played, Danny Tang got it. It was like, hey, they were talking, come play in the cash game. He played till 7 a.m. in the cash game. Did very well, hopped in the short deck tournament, and then just took down his first one he ever played for, pretty insane, right? And he got third in the main event in the 200K. So quite a series for that man, Kevin Chappé, as you said, if I'm pronouncing it wrong. But yeah, that was pretty special. And cheers to him. Quite a series he had there. Got a trophy and a third and a lot of millions to go along with it. So that was quite an eventful series and a big sadness. Ivan Liao, of course, we saw that they called the series early, had a heart attack, and really, really sad. And, one of the legends in poker, legends of Triton, and, so many people put their outpour of support for him. I mean, just terrible. But, Ivan Liao, if you may have heard that did happen. But, there was the series there it was a successful, the series was a good poker series. And I don't know, have you ever played the Tritons, Patrick? Have you ever played, have you been during a Triton in one of the stops?
No, I haven't. I mean, a lot of them were going on during COVID, and it's not ideal for traveling. I think nowadays it's getting closer. I'm starting to get to the point where maybe I'd play some of the smaller ones. I think the Cyprus event, we got actually an interesting one here. I don't think Kevin's gonna fold. I don't think you limp ace-10 off the fold. I think you're uncomfortable, and I think you have to sigh it because Ole's going to have a lot of suited aces here and a lot of offsuit aces. Oh my goodness, this is a
ace-10 to ace-2
big
suited.
deciding hand here.
Ole Shemian showing aggression. Kevin Pock sticks in there to the river. He has got the best of it. There are some chops.
Deuces and fives.
And it is clean ace-10 high for a ton of cookies, and that is a very important pot. Would have been heads up. Instead, Ole says tilt, and he is now in second, and will continue. And
I'd like to note that I picked Kevin first. I picked him first, and he came into this final table like fifth or sixth. It's so far the story of this tournament. I mean, Ole's been Kevin's ATM. Anytime Kevin needed to double up, Ole's been there for him. This is a crazy one. Massive double up here for Kevin, and now he's taking over the chip lead. I mean, in situations like this, like, you know, Ole was chip lead, but it's a fragile chip lead. It's a comfortable but fragile. All it takes is one double up and things flip. And three-handed poker, a lot of things can happen. But yeah, back to the I think sometime in the near future, maybe sometime in 2023, I think I'll be looking to play some Triton. I think Triton has done so many things well. The series is very well ran. I only hear good things about it. They go to good locations as well. Yeah, I want to take part in them. They've done a good job to making things look cool, and especially with their branding and the merchandise stuff like that. They've made it exciting and cool just to, you know, take part of, and, you know, people are happy to be there and to rep the brand. Everything's been very well ran, very professional, and it's become quite the staple.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Top ran. A lot of class out there. A lot of nice hybrid with the businessmen and pros, and of course in that special 200K, similar to the £1 million in London in 2019. That was a popular format. This time a 200K with the rebuy option. Got I think 198 uniques, maybe like 115 total entries, something like that. It was very, very, very successful and a special time. But yeah, we are still three-handed here. Ben CB going out. A lot of players' favorite player. You guys again know him from Raise Your Edge in that course. And we are four-handed down to three quickly. 219,000, almost 220 locked up with a 60K page up, and of course 357 up top. And things did get congested now. And Kevin has got himself the chip lead with 8.7 million. Ole, a slight aggressive misstep, but you can't blame him for going for it. Kevin looking for his first title. So is Pete.
Things have really flipped on this dinner bet proposition, because you know, you had like 12 million versus 4 million, and now it's basically inverse. Pretty unfortunate for Ben. I mean, he had to end up losing a whole good chunk of pots. He was pretty comfortable chip lead, 4 left, ends up getting fourth. You know, a lot of people spectating or watching. It's like, oh wow, if you get first, you should never get fourth. It's, you know, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, and you just gotta accept it. You can't just always get first when you're 1 of 4, right? Somebody's gonna lose some pots. Somebody's gonna lose some flips, and unfortunate end result there for Ben. Could be a fun one here though. Ole betting the flop here. I think after raising pre. 200. Yeah, I think Ole raised pre, bet flop. Kind of curious if he'll continue to. This is a tough turn to double barrel with a hand like this, because there's so many flush draws, there's so many straight draws, there's so many like 2 pairs that are going to continue. He does elect to keep firing, and it's a weird spot. It's like, I wonder if you're planning on tripling it off, because there's just so many things that are going to call that it just makes it so much harder to have pure airball bluffs. It's just a very uncomfortable spot. Ole pulls the trigger though. Love to see it. Ole fearless, one of the greatest, and bang. I think Kevin will be all in here versus limp. And Pete, he's gotten a lot of page ups. He's survived. He's battled, but now he's the one in the hot seat. 3 of 3 on a little over 12 big blinds. Gonna need to take a stand soon, especially with the blind levels going up in 5 hands. It's gonna go to 200,000 big blind. The price of poker is going up.
Yeah, making notes here, guys. Again, I have a highlight video. So each week on GG, it comes out the following Monday for the highlights of this final table. So make sure you check that out. And of course, you can watch the replay on GG anytime. A lot of great final tables. This is another one. We're getting to see some of the best players in the world play, and we're down to 3-handed. And of course, 485 thumbs up. We appreciate that. They're rooting for Pete Chen now. Is that right, Patrick? That's who they have for the $100 versus the 50?
Yeah, Pete's the $100. Yeah, all the $100 winners ended up I mean, they had Ben. That was a strong choice, but unfortunate.
I'm going to announce it at heads up. So if it gets the heads up, we have a $50 or $100 giveaway. If Pete makes if he were to win it, it would be 100. And if we get to 600 thumbs up, that's 115 more. I'll just make it 100 no matter what. To be fair, it's a good time, right, Patrick? They're a little against it. Out of 16 million chips, there's only about 15% of the chips in play currently. So if you guys are here, if you haven't hit the thumbs up, if you're thinking about getting the giveaway, if you just want to be a positive person, hit the thumbs up. We appreciate it. And we are still active for a potential $100 giveaway. And look at this. Ace 8.
Three-way poker.
7, 8. Yeah, this is rare. And this is one of those things where it's hard to make a pair. Who can do it? Only actually with the Ace 8. Could he just start betting? No, he decides, guess what? I'm going to check. Maybe I have the best hand. I don't feel like getting check raised. Let me just check it here. And now Pete, Queen 9 suited, kind of ambitious to go in bomb into 2 people. And now the chip leader, Kevin, on the turn, Jack 5-5-3. Does he want to take a shot? Kind of a hard ask as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I feel like Pete might have showed up with better at this point, but also when Kevin's barreling, he's trying to get Pete to fold a jack or just a bunch of airball stuff. Interesting predicament here once it goes checks around to the river. Kevin could throw some absurd bet. Like, he has all the 6-4s. He still has ace-4. He could... Maybe he has he has hands that could just end up just bombing here. He could opt to just go like, yeah, I'm going to bet 3 times the pot. He does just bet 1 big one, which is interesting. An interesting sizing. He's still repping like a wider value range, I guess, but I don't know how many hands want to bet a big one. There's a jack. I don't know. I don't really know what else. I don't know if a 3 is going to want to bet here for value for 1 big blind. I think I would have preferred a bigger bet, but oh well, just take it down. I mean, we knew he was going to get through Pete. It's kind of close for Ole. It's also a tough ass to call with ace high here.
Yeah, there's a look at the payouts again. Such a nice payout from a 10K buy-in. And some people, of course, you could satellite in for 100, even less, I believe, into the Super Millions. There are satellite options, and that is a massive payout, Patrick. 357,000 for first on a Tuesday here with us. So we are over 500 thumbs ups, 197 away if we're going to make it 100 guaranteed, or 100 if Pete wins. And I have selected the winner. At heads up, I will announce it, and we still have some time for that. Pete Chen, looking fresh. He's looking fresh, rocking the avatar. He's in green, a member of the GG team here. What do you think?
I think it's teal. I think it's a teal color. The team pro name. I know. The only reason I know teal is because of or turquoise is because of playing like StarCraft and Warcraft back in the day as a kid. That was one of the main colors that you'd play. If you'd pick a team color, it would be teal. So
I feel like I'm on the point of no return. I'm in that awkward point of I'm so used to 1 hour breaks for using the restroom, and we're in here now for 2 hours 45 minutes, and we haven't gone through. I'm surprised. Are you not trained? You find yourself after a grind, like after like playing for a week or a series or 2 or 3, like you just have to go every hour or not? Because that happened to me for years streaming consistently.
I've been okay. Like I don't know. I've always been okay with just like holding it in, but like there's certain points where like I don't know, I've consumed a heavy amount of water so far. I probably consumed about like I think before the stream started, I probably drank like a liter and a half, and I've drank this whole thing.
My water's gone.
Yeah, coffee's gonna get you good too. I think if a coffee is gonna get you more so than just a couple liters of water. I mean, if you need to make a quick run.
Look at this again. Another a nice over bet. A gear. Ole Shemian getting asked into another interesting spot. He's got no diamond. He's got ace jack high. He does make the fold, and Kevin really showing us some class here. I get separation anxiety though. That's the problem. The chat knows this. If anyone remembers, so I just like I should go decatheter maybe. I don't know. I think Jason Somerville may have done that back in the day. He was famous for going 10, 12 hours streams and never.
Big all in here.
We got an all in. Queen Jack, King 8. Pete Chen makes the call. And it is a king on the flop. Going to need a 10 or some running hearts. It's not to be. It is a 10 or a 10 only, or we'll be heads up. And it is a 9.
If he slow peeled it, it would have been an exciting sweat too, because it's a 4-sider. Damn. Unlucky for Pete. GG.
Giveaway is active. It is going to be $50 coming your way. And I will announce the winner here. Hopefully you're still in the chat because I drew it a bit ago, but now we will announce it, and it is.
Oh, I'm still here. I'm still in the chat.
You're still here. Okay. It might not have been you this time. Let's see. The winner is. Let's see if it comes up. Uh-oh. It is. He's at least in the chat. I don't know if we'll see it, but it is marked Talker 3. Congrats. So that is the winner.
I would have liked it if like a Mandarin or Cantonese account name was the winner. Like, it's just, I would have loved to see you struggle to try to pronounce it. You'd at least had a Google Translate or something. That would have been funny. Or if this guy's account name right here, ASDAL, you know, you had to be like, all right, Asdil, you know, would have been funnier if one of those account names won. Anyways, we're heads up. Kevin versus Ole. I mean, I said it earlier. I mean, Ole's been Kevin's ATM. Ole's destroyed and won every pot versus every other person. The only person that has won pots off of Ole is Kevin. And look who's heads up. It's Kevin and Ole.
Yeah, pretty even match here in terms of chip distribution. So we've got 9.7, almost 10 million to 8 million call. Let's call it 10 to 8, pretty tight. Let's see, marked. We are going to see I need to get a picture of his username. He is in the chat still. That's good. That's a good start. See if we can get it there. But yeah, I told him if we get to 700, Patrick, I'll do another 50. I just really want to give away 100. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get creative, but so far we'll do the 50 and we'll see what Mark can come up with.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, one of the messages in chat, it's blocked, but I can see it as moderator, says he beat the guy's account name that I said before, the ASDAL. He goes, he'd beat me in Halo 3, and I don't know if you remember, but you know, I was a big Halo kid back in the day. I used to go to Major League Gaming events. It's where some of my old screen names come from. So he's clearly familiar with my Halo past. I doubt it. I don't think he'd beat me in Halo 3. I was pretty good at 1v1s, especially. There was only a handful of people that could beat me. Ninja was one of them. I actually used to play a lot against Ninja in Halo 3 and Halo Reach way back in the day. Before he became the super sensation he is today, he was just a normal 17, 18-year-old kid. Not that he isn't normal now, but you know, stardom's a bit different than just being a kid playing some video games.
Yeah, that's it's different, right? It's different. It's hard out there. I can't imagine. I always said I would play with my kids. I have a 3-year-old, you know, and it starts time for them to click the video games, probably about a year and a half away. But I don't know, man. It's hard. I haven't played video games in a long time. Yeah,
because I mean, I feel like, especially playing with kids, pick it up. Oh, we have a pretty bold 3-bet here with the queen deuce off and takes it down. Ole shows the deuce as well. Let them know there's some spice. I think it's fine to show one card in these situations too, because the cards are up anyways. They're gonna see anyways, so it's kind of fun just to get in the mix. Yeah, but playing with the young ones, I mean, kids are very quick to adapt and learn and get better. So the situation where you'll be playing with them. Oh, wow, that's cute. You know, you're playing not that good, and then like 3 weeks later, and you start sweating to keep up.
It gets more tricky, right? The graphics are more real. Everything gets more intense. I got to say, I'm impressed. I just played FIFA for the first time in years, and I love that game. That game was it's pretty amazing, the gameplay. Well, look at this. Makes a straight, picks up some equity on the dime. He's got one of the worst hands Ole could have here. He does go for a fire, and with the 9 and no diamond, let's see with what Kevin comes up with here.
Yeah, I think Kevin will probably just call. I don't know if he's going to be wanting to find too many raises. And it's an unfortunate spot for Ole because he's never winning unless he bets. And I don't know. I mean, Ole could probably get some 1-diamond combos. Like if Kevin's got like the ace of diamonds or the king of diamonds, or even like the jack of diamonds, maybe he can get him to fold sometimes. Ole could still have straights here. He could still have king 9 or any sort of other 9.
Wow.
Does go for the big bet. I don't think Kevin's going to fold here. I think the hand's just too good to fold. You got to call something. It's uncomfortable too. Uh, it's not a fun spot, but sometimes you just gotta call. You just gotta have a good hand. You just gotta call. But it's never easy. Ole never making it easy for his opponents.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine folding this as played, but that sizing is so crazy. And I guess like that's the thing too. You do lose to some other straights, not just the nine. So it's just like it's a huge hand in the match for Kevin here. If he can make the call, he's gonna have a dominating lead. If not, Ole is gonna be closer to getting himself another title on the Super Millions. He does have one in each season. Season 1, season 2. This is season 2, episode 59. All right, we're at 523 thumbs up. I don't know if we'll hit the 700. We do have the one winner. Let's see if we do another. And look at that.
Oh wow,
Ole
Kevin landed
has
down.
to be the hand of the day, right? I mean, that's just like that is going for a title. That was putting it on the line, and quite a move from Ole. That is maybe
It's
Kevin. It's special. It's a big over.
Yeah,
It's a big.
I think Kevin's thinking he doesn't beat value, and he's just weighing out the options of whether or not Ole bluffs enough. Yeah, and I guess he just decided probably isn't getting the right price, assuming he probably doesn't bluff as much as he thinks. Ole does have the bluff there. He does have the 5-4 off. I don't think Kevin's gonna expect to see 5-4 off there in the double barrel. Tough spot for Kevin. Not an easy decision. Does elect to make the fold, and Ole takes the lead here. This is a sweat for the dinner bet. I mean, this is at least each of our guys got heads up. I think your guy might get in trouble here because we've seen Ole. He's got the moves, and Kevin's flopped the nuts or the second nuts. So this could be a chance for Kevin to redeem himself. He's going to fold a straight and then make more money with the next straight. Okay, Ole does check back the straight draw. I think Kevin's still going to keep checking here. I think this is a turn where in a raised pot, Ole is going to have a lot of aces. Yeah. Whether or not Kevin check raises turn or he check calls is to be determined. Wow. Ole again just with the double check. And now I think this is where things get interesting. Ole could check back some aces, but probably doesn't often. I think if Kevin was to be bluffing, you'd probably want to pick like a pretty large size. I wouldn't be shocked to see either a small like 1/3 size or like some sort of like 2x pot. He does go for the small size. Sees Ole for being a tight, weak range. Expects to see like an 8 or a 9 here. Ole calls with the 7 or king eye. Nice one for Kevin. Basically ties things up. Just a couple big blinds separate these two. Kevin looking to win me dinner. I have to say, if Kevin wins me dinner, maybe if somehow it's at a Triton event, maybe he gets strung along as well.
Yeah.
I mean, this could be an interesting. Yeah, this is a situation too. I mean, I don't know if Ole has played any Tritons. I don't think Ole has been to a Triton event. Despite his live prowess, I don't think he's played too much live poker in the last little bit. I don't know if we've seen him at any stops, but I mean, we know Kevin's become a Triton regular.
Yeah, it's interesting. I haven't seen Ole hasn't been on too much live stuff lately from what I can tell. He's definitely one of the more impressive resumes. I think he did take down like a WPT or something maybe after even.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious.
But let's take it.
What has he been up to?
Yeah, let's see. I think he has.
Yeah, he played some. He was in Vegas. Yeah, that's basically what I'm seeing. He was in Vegas for the series, and he's played a couple live stops, but not super active. Oh yeah, he won a bracelet event in November. He won the Hall of Fame bounty. I don't remember that. Okay, so yeah, he has played a bit. He just hasn't played Triton then. He's been playing a bit of live here or there. Just hasn't been playing Triton. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's definitely shown some tricks on the seasons thus far. He has shown us a lot of ability, a lot of talent, and a lot of heart. And here is again, this time not going to work here, huh? I don't. What do you think, Patrick? With the King 8 full house as played, I think it's going to knock it through. And Kevin is going to put it in, and then going to see a very lightning fast, almost probably his misclick fold for how fast he's going to fold here. But this is cheers to Kevin for kind of knowing his man and finding a way to give him some rope. He tried it last hand with the Jack 7, didn't get it, and here, Ole, there it is, the lightning fast fold and advantage Kevin. So, I mean, distribution-wise, this has been definitely more cards for Kevin. Ole's been going for some big bluffs and hasn't worked out each time. But blinds are up to 100K, 200K. We will see a winner today, everyone. 280K locked up, 77,000 in change up for grabs. Two big names. Kevin is a player I have seen on the Triton stakes before, seeing him play some of those big stake buy-ins, and is not a winning player not a winner. I shouldn't say winning player. He hasn't won a title. Ole has won 2. So let's see if Kevin can go ahead and get his first Super Millions trophy today. Looking good at the moment.
Yeah, it's a big pickup. You know, Ole firing. You know, that's what happens. You know, you're gonna see the highs and the lows of bluffs with these situations. You know, sometimes it works, sometimes you get them to fold, sometimes you run into the stone nuts, and it's just the way it is. It is the highlights of, you know, you can't always be right. You can still make good decisions and, you know, still lose. Doesn't make anything wrong, doesn't make anything bad.
Yeah. Well, heads up is a fascinating character, right? So it's a fascinating topic because it's something you don't get to do a lot, but some of the best in the world, it's like you never know who's studied more at it, who's had more practice, who's more versed. And of course, someone has a bit of an advantage in any match, although players of this caliber, it's often hard to decipher, right? Who's put more work into it, who's better, and also who's able to make sort of exploits in game quickly, as you're not going to get a lot of opportunities to battle with someone heads up.
Yeah, I always, if I get heads up versus a fellow professional, the vast majority of the time, unless the chip stacks are very uneven, if we're close, I usually just chop, because you're usually playing for the most amount of money, and even if I think I'm way better than another professional player, it's like best case my edge is like 1% or 2%. You know, you're not really pushing big edges. So you know, maybe you have a 1% of the slight edge versus another professional, but then you're still playing heads up for like, you know, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. It's a big ask, and you can kind of ego it, but you know, I'm not always rolled to play $10,000 heads ups. I'm fine to just chop it up sometimes. And you know, we have 2 elite players here. You know, it's going to come down to just, you know, who's playing their best and who's going to be just a bit on the right side of variance.
Yeah, I agree. And this is interesting not to go for a big size. I guess he's got the second nuts here. Essentially, effectively, there's a straight flush, but he does go just trying to get called by some heart there as he chips into the lead. It is now pretty real hands heads up. Ace 3 off, as you mentioned. Queen 7 off is the computer hand, heads up, middling hand. So both players above even distribution of cards. 7's just going to get called by Ace 3. So would have loved to see the money get in if you're Ole, but a little too deep for that. And Kevin going to just call and probably save some money here, although the 10 Jack 5 could be on for at least another bet. Let's see what he comes with here with Ace high on 10 Jack 5. So board pairs, 7's in the lead, couple overcards, 5. This isn't the best board for 7's, but still, you know, it's hard to make a pair heads up. Does check back, see 1.395 in the middle, and interesting spot where Kevin definitely could think he has the best hand here as played.
Yeah, I think first thing a bet and then a check. Ace high feels kind of comfortable.
Yeah,
he does see the bad news though. Pocket 7s is going to take it down. In 4 hands, blinds go up, and this is one of the steeper blind level increases. It'll go from, you know, at the moment they're sitting just under 40 big blinds effective. It'll drop things to about 30 big blinds. Going from 200,000 to 250,000. It's gonna crank the pressure.
Well, this is
start to see some forced all-ins here.
Yeah, big flop for both players. I see Johnny Reddy saying if it's me, type in the GG Super Millions chat, put a shoe on my head. I don't have a shoe, but I'll put a couple on my head. It is me. I'm typing in there. I'm talking to you guys. Can we get to 700 thumbs up? We will give another $50 away. We got a nice, that's respect today, Patrick. Cheers for you. Thank you for being here. 535 thumbs up. Hope you guys are enjoying on the show. We've already awarded a $50 tournament dollars giveaway. We'll do 50 more if we can get to 700, but pretty happy with the turnout and appreciate all you guys being here today, seeing some high-level poker, some big payouts, and some big names. And there is a 5 on the river, 9-4 suited, misses the flush, 5 makes trips, although didn't need it to have the best hand. And now Ole with one of the worst hands he can have, 1.5 in the middle. Let's see, he doesn't look like a quitter to me.
Kevin needed to make pretty easy calls on the river, though, when Ole does bluff. This is actually kind of close where Kevin could actually probably value raise this. I feel like river trips. I mean, Ole's going to have some 7x and some 10x that'll value bet. He'll have worse 5s as well. Yeah, I think Kevin should probably be raising here with the 5. I think versus this, I think if Ole overbet, he probably finds calls. I think versus the 2/3, yeah, he's going to find the raise. Good raise from him. Obviously Ole had a easy fold, but Kevin realizing has a pretty strong hand.
All right, we got 2100 watching right now, and there you go. Jack 10 ace 4, similar situation as last time on the flop, right? I think it was Jack 10 5, even the last flop. This time a weak ace for Ole, and pretty big flop for Kevin, who flops top 2 and little gut shot action.
Yeah, I think what's exciting about this is Kevin might pick a big flop, a big turn bet. Ole is not going anywhere with the gut shot and the overcard. And it could lead to some excitement on the river where, you know, Kevin picks another big bet and Ole finds a hero call. Yeah, finds the 2x pot. I don't think he's going to fold ace 4 here. I think you still have the straight draw. You still have the overcard. You know, Kevin's bluffs are probably with draws are going to go this size. He has some airball bluffs as well. Yeah, as we see, that's I think that's a tough river to expect Kevin to get value on. I mean, Ole will have king queen and queen 9 here. He doesn't always. You don't always see bet your straight draws in the situation. It's fine to check. I'm kind of curious what size Kevin's going to pick on this river. And he does just jam. Yeah, he goes 2x pot, 2x pot. And this is a, easy, I guess a trivial fold here for Ole. A 9's a really tough river to bluff on. Kevin goes for the home run swing, takes it down.
Yeah, ace deuce, jack 9. Blinds starting to go, I mean, yeah, 100, 200, Ole down to 20 blinds. We see a limp. He does check back. Very interesting. Ace deuce. Jack 9 off. Jack 9 going to like this flop as it's got the gut shot 2 overs and backdoor heart draw. Expect him to be betting here. He does go fairly healthy.
Yeah, bets about a big blind and a half. Seems like the strong move. And blinds actually go up again. It's going to be 250,000 big blind now. And Ole is now sub 20 big blinds. It's getting sweaty now.
Interesting. Goes for a raise. We see a lot of players limp off of these depths, but it does raise on the king jack 5, 2 clubs. This is going to likely be a follow up bet. 4-6 off gets the job done. What do you think about that versus limping off the stack depth? You kind of see generally people limping, I think, but
I think some of these hands that I find a lot of people make the mistake of they're limping hands that are better off raising, like things like 6-4 off or like 7-4 off. They're hands that you don't necessarily want to be limp call, or you're not going to limp call. So and it's kind of awkward when you limp fold, but they do benefit when you raise. You do get better 7s to fold. You do get some other stuff to fold, and playing raise pots when your opponent calls is a bit more advantageous for you, since a lot of their stronger hands would have 3-bet pre and stuff like that. And it's also good just to have those sort of hands as bluffs, where I think people make the mistake of limping too much in heads up. And yeah, I do think raising the 6-4 off there is the stronger play with that particular hand. Just a nice hand to apply some pressure with. And if you get 3-bet, you don't really care that much if you fold. It's 6-4 off.
Well, both players have a top pair versus the bottom pair, the 9-9 run out. This could get Ole in a lot of trouble here as things miss. And Kevin with a very weak kicker, but still top pair. Expect him to go fairly big here, get called by a jack or a 5, or even some other hands. So let's see what Ole can come up with. I don't think Ole's likely going to fold here on this run out. But then again, it's a big ask. 800,000 going close to about 75% pot here.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be shocked if Ole found any of the three options, call, fold, or raise. It is an intricate situation where Ole still has nines. He still has straights. Kind of. I don't know. I don't know. I guess this one's a bit tougher to say for sure.
I didn't
There's a
even
lot.
cross-
There's a lot to boil down.
Yeah, it didn't cross my mind to raise there, but actually a decent option, right? You could get some jacks maybe to fold or just some
Yeah.
other. So it's an interesting play here. But as it see it, ace queen offsuit, 3-8 suited, does go for the min raise, 3-8 suited. Kind of a weird one. I mean, it's sort of like, again, heads up, you peel in one blind, get a chance to hit something. Can't imagine folding, and he does hit. The 3 is paired and now in the lead, 1.1 in the middle, and ace queen off. Going to keep betting, although now in dire straits. So Kevin, with the potential win in sight here, got a pair. He's after the flop and a 9 on the turn. Still gonna have the best hand going to the river.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good turn for Kevin, just because it just reduces the amount of hands that Ole could have that are beating him. But also, I mean, Ole's not going to be double barrel bluffing as often on this turn. He does elect to lead. That's the minimum. Interesting spot for Ole. Does he want to? I mean, typically when people lead here, they're going to lead. They're telling them that they have like a 9, a 4, a 3, or like some sort of draws that want to realize equity. Ole just clicks the call button. I guess it's interesting too, because if Kevin doesn't bet this river, he doesn't have very many strong hands. And Ole doesn't always win on the river, but he just has too strong of a hand to ever really turn into a bluff. And Kevin gets a bit of value there on the turn. I feel like, honestly, I feel like he would have made more money if he checked in that exact scenario, because I think Ole would have just bet turn for value and as a bit of equity denial. Interesting one. Yeah, Kevin really running away with this one. He's been on the better side of variance the last few orbits. And another situation where it could get spicy. Kevin probably going to stab flop. Ole not going to go anywhere with the backdoor flush draw and the gut shot. Don't think we'll see any check raises from Ole here with the 10-3 of clubs.
I could see it. I mean, it's sort of like he's sort of on that stack depth where it's hard to just be calling down there. I kind of like this, right? He's going to get some better hands to fold. It didn't get, and the diamond now, very interesting. I'll be curious if he can go ahead and continue here. He does go for a small sizing, and interesting. Kevin's got the gut shot, but 10 high flush draw, gut shot, and Ole kind of making a committal. I mean, sort of an interesting spot here. Kevin, does he want to call with this equity, or just kind of think it's too thin and the downside? What is he looking for, really? That's what he does. Wow. Sick.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot there to unpack with that hand. That's a fun one.
That's a fun one. That's up there.
Kevin.
That's up there close to the hand of the day. Ace 4 gonna shove. Jack 6 gonna be just not quite enough hand, although it's getting close. Jack 6 off though, gonna be able to find a first in or a better spot to call here. It's a little too much, but he's got Ole in that position, right? He is in striking distance for a win here. 1.8 million. Aces 6-2 suited. Expect a limp. I don't think it's gonna be enough to. Yeah, this hand doesn't feel like one to shove, but maybe.
I think it's definitely a better limp. Don't think we'd be jamming this, but I think Ole should probably just he can min raise here, but I would check. I think either option's fine if you raise to 500, or because you could still have bluffs here. You could still just, like, if Kevin's gonna have like some weaker hands that limp, like I don't think he's gonna be limp calling 6-2 suited. So like you can just like attack with like your 10-3 offs and stuff like that. Unfortunate for Ole that he's just got such a weak holding, he can't do much about it. This one is going to get called, and this could be for the tournament here. Kevin with King Jack 10.
A possible win here for Kevin if he can fade the 8. There is some chop opportunities here on the 3 pair on the turn. Let's see a river, and it looks like a king. And look at that, 100%, 100% win. Kevin gets it done, and Patrick, you have won yourself a dinner, and of course the chat got the $50 giveaway. Such an electric final table today, really fun, and it looks like we went every bit of 3 hours today, Patrick. So I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate you taking the time. I hope everyone enjoyed out there. Again, this was season 2, episode 59 in the books. We saw it all. We saw the big names. We saw the big prizes, the big bluffs, the big calls. We had a ton going off. So I appreciate everyone so much, and thank you, Patrick. Any closing thoughts here, Patrick?
My fire alarm's going off, so I don't know. It's got.
Wow, that fireworks on the last hand. The champion.
Yeah, it was such a okay. It finally, fortunately, turned off. It was such a fire hand that even my house responded with the result there. Big one for Kevin. Yeah, I like to know. That was my first pick. That was my first pick of this tournament going into this final table.
Wow. You know what?
Feels
I'm gonna let you order dessert. I'm gonna let you order drinks and bring a +1 for our dinner that I now owe you. And yeah.
If Kevin's around, he's the +1. He earned this dinner as much as I did. You know. I think it's a good. I do appreciate the dessert offer, especially considering he wasn't chip lead when I picked him either. He was like 5th in chips, 6th in chips. It was an aggressive pick.
Very, very strong. Very, very well played by you. Definitely going to get a bonus for that. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We'll see you next week on the GG Super Millions. Again, every Tuesday, 2:45 p.m. Eastern. Big show, big prizes, big guests. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much.
Take care, guys.